One of our most successful guests so far. 260,000 views. It was a year ago. We said to everybody out there, if you get 100,000 views on the podcast, you are welcome to come back anytime. And we've got Ian Blink McDonald. Never ever seen so many newspaper articles. He's got scrapbook after scrapbook after scrapbook. And last time he said he was going to speak to me for about 2 hours. It's the all-time longest podcast we've ever done, 3 hours, 35 minutes. We didn't even get to his younger years. So there's all these stories that we've not heard yet that we are going to hear today.
The man's crazy and that's coming from me.
And he's no cold wild man for nothing.
But Ian Blink McDonald is too deadly for Danny Dyer's deadliest men. And Ian did touch on it last time, but I'd just like to start out, and thanks so much for coming back, to start out with, why are you too deadly for Danny Dyer's deadliest men?
Fuck no.
What happened?
What happened is I was involved in a gangland war in Glasgow in 2008. I done something to somebody, right? I'll not get into it too much, and everybody kept saying in Glasgow, the comeback's coming. And I says, fuck the comeback. I says, give a fuck, you know what I mean? And I do these thing with the police letters and all that, your life's in danger and all that. I was, fuck that. I'd been to the Old Bailey, Shaun, and I got 16 years. And that's Sir Lawrence Verney gave me that sentence. And I managed to get through it by the way, because it was the longest sentence. I'd been in 10.5 years, no rehabilitation, straight out the door. And I says, nothing will frighten me again. So this crowd for Glasgow, it was supposed to be a top fucking mob, but fucking make all sorts of threats. And I went, well, come on. So the comeback eventually arrived in 2009. I was staying in a penthouse flat up in a very nice place called Hugginfield Lock. And this woman and her man were just back from Las Vegas. And she jet lagged and she was sitting in the living room. This was May 2009, and she saw this car driving in, but there was a van blocking my car. I had the car with Blink on it. I bought this registration plate about 2 years before it.
Incognito.
Yeah, they put incognito. You mean hot in July? It was the hottest cunt in Glasgow. So I put this plate on, and after half an hour, I got a phone call from somebody, and it says, I heard you running about your car, you've put a registration called Blink. I went, that's right. They went, did you make it up? I went, don't be fucking silly, did I make it up? I says, I bought it. I says, I've got a bit of trouble, so I've put it on. I says, and I had a Chelsea top with Blink on it when I was down in Chelsea. So I was just kind of about, so an innocent bystander wouldn't get shot or bombed, as the case was going to be. So anyway, this woman neighbour, she saw the 3 people or something driving up at 4 a.m. She had her light it, and she phoned the police, by the way, and she says, I think somebody's trying to steal cars. So the police, they actually came twice. I don't know how they missed this. So the lady's man, Adam, that became good neighbours with them, we were good people. And Adam came to the doorbell, and I wasn't opening my bell to anybody, and he's shouting, Ian, and I went down, he says, there's something under your car. I went, but this time the police were right on me in Glasgow, right? And stopping the car all the time. And they'd even been up, they bugged the fucking house one day when I was in as well. I know for a certainty they'd done that. But they were trying to catch me with a gun and that in the car, but that wasn't happening, you know what I mean? I'd learnt too much over the years not to be that stupid. So anyway, I went down the stairs with Adam, and I'm saying it's probably been a tracking device or a bugging device under the car. It's only a wee small thing, because it happened to my friend just a few weeks before it. I got a bit of a shock. I saw it was a fucking bomb under the car. So another neighbour, and I said, Adam went, what are you going to do? I says, I'm not phoning the police. So another neighbour came and went, I'm phoning the police. I've got children in the thing in this estate and all that.
What kind of damage could that bomb have caused?
Well, the police released a statement. They says it was a viable device, and they says it would have took half the building down. So it did. And they were treating it really serious. What happened? They evacuated about 20 odd houses. This was about 10 in the morning. No, what I done? They evacuated all the houses, and they're shouting, Ian, come out the house. I says, I'm having my cornflakes. And my sister's phoning, going, get out that fucking house. I'm having a shower next.
I'm surprised you didn't go get your reg.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Fucking as long as I never got that. See, no, but I did make a quote while Manor says, no, not the car. Something in the newspaper, know what I mean? They're saying fucking he's more interested in his fucking car than anybody else getting injured. So what happened is I wouldn't give the police they wouldn't give the keys and that. I said, fuck all keys and that. I mean, my mother stayed round the corner and they says it will make it easier. The bomb squad are on their way and all that and everybody. I says, no, you evacuated me last. I says, fucking, so no, it's fuck yous. And they kept fingering up. So I eventually went down. I went, here's the keys. And I walked through into my ma's and the bomb squad and all that came up. They used a robot and all that, so they did. And so this was May 2009. This was a Friday.
At what point did Danny Dyer's TV production team decide to stop filming you?
Well, they'd already started a couple of days before it.
Yeah.
And what happened is when that bomb went under the car, they just went like that, whoosh, straight back down to fucking England. They were faster than Alan Wales, know what I mean? And I says, no, but I says to the wee director guy, I says, listen, mate, I says, there's a Gangland war starting here. And he went, what do you mean a gang? I says, this is a gangland. I says, mate, make a name for yourself. He went, fuck that. He says, I'm not getting caught up in this. And they told me, the producer guy told me, he says, listen, this is a story about your past life. And I'm 48 years at the time, Shaun. And I'm saying, well, this is going to be good because I'm going right ahead here. So they missed out anyway. They missed out me getting fucking, I've got a Mars bar, you know what I mean? And
that'd have been a good story for him, though, wouldn't it, if they stayed around?
Oh, you can only be so deadly. You can't be thoroughly deadly.
No, but Peter, they could have got this all live.
Yeah.
Fucking shootings and fuck knows what. And the guy would have made his name as a director.
Yeah.
A bit of balls, but they never had the balls. And I did say it, I've says it loads of times, Danny Dyer is a shite mag. You know what I mean? And
now
he
he's
fucked
stuck
off.
in EastEnders.
Aye, stuck in EastEnders, know what I mean? Fuck, what's he doing in there?
With an
His wife's
alcoholic wife.
fucking leaving him. Fuck.
So that was just the
I know we
beginning.
all like a drink.
That was just the beginning of a
beginning,
strange week.
That was the beginning on Friday, Shaun. To tell you the truth, wild man, it was one of the worst weeks in my life, apart from going to the Old Bailey and that Judge Sir Lawrence Verney giving me 16 years. I had on to 2.5 years.
What did that feel like? Gutted?
I thought I was only going to get about 9 or 10. But even that was a big sentence. But when he says 16, I went, fucking hell. Me and Mick Keeley-McCoy, because we were walking around Belmarsh, we were in the high security unit, and we were going, when's this fucking black tunnel going to end, you know what I mean? And but anyway, getting back to the story, that was the Friday the bomb evacuated and all that, and they took the car away and that. And so there was a newspaper article in the Sunday, I might have made the quote or no, you know what I mean? And it says, they're only wee boys playing with big toys. Well, I think we suffered for that comment. Because in the Tuesday, as I say, my mother was away on holiday and that, and they still had the car, and I had a dog at the time, you know what I mean, a wee Labrador. I went to walk, but I watched this car passed by me twice with 3 guys in it, but I didn't really think nothing of it. And I got to Arthur Thompson's, who's I've mentioned before, the Godfather of Glasgow. Well, he stayed in Provan Mill Road, and I just walked by there. My mum's round the corner, and another boy, Paul Ferris, and just stayed across the road. So I just get by Thompson's house, and they must have drove by me and plotted up to get me. And I just turned round to get into this. There's a church at my mother's corner. And the next one, I felt a fucking bang in the back of my head, and I went flying. And I got up. And it was a summer's day, May, you know what I mean? Just a t-shirt and that on. And I used to carry Shaun, you know what I mean? But I never carried that day because I thought the police were still watching for the bomb. So what happened was the three guys, they were hesitant, know what I mean? But there were like three sharks circling around me.
They're thinking you've got some of that.
Aye, they think I've got something that then I've not produced.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, and you're... So the three of them get a bit gamer, and before you know it, I had a fight with them. But do you know where I ended up? I ended up in a church gate, and one of them had their legs out us, and we once tried to cut my fucking throat. But as you can see, they've done that. Well, man, that's fuck all.
No.
I've got a bigger scratch in my arse, know what I mean? But no, it was bad. But my face was hanging right
I was
half.
going to say, that'd be hanging out like that.
No, there was children playing in my mother's street, and there was a nurse there, Carol, and she ran down with bandages and all that. And I went along to my mother's house. She was in, and I ended up going up to the hospital. So they kept me in for 2 days. And they done it was bad. No, I mean, I'm saying a scratch in the earth, but it was bad. I'd just say that anyway. No, I mean, because if you give it out, get it back. That's my motto. I've been doing it all my life, Shaun. Peter, know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been involved in violence for a young age. Know what I mean? So,
Goes
but
around.
see, to tell you the truth and to tell the viewers the truth, I never expected to ever be slashed. But I'm a bit of a hypocrite with saying that because I've gave it out plenty of times. So it was easy, Ozzy, not a problem. I'm in hospital in Cannisburn, and I must say that the doctors and that were good in there, and they done some job. They fucking stitched right up because it was hanging off. So I was in hospital for the Tuesday to the Thursday. I got out, and I went and collected my car. That was all full of forensic dust and all that, and fuck knows what, and this bomb thing had been moved out it and been made safe. And so I started running about, and I was saying to people, I'm going to fucking war here. I'm not letting this go. I had a rough idea. So on the Friday, me and my pal were up my flat in Hugginsfield Lock. My pal says, there's 6 coppers coming in your CID, in the suits. And he says, don't let. I says, no, I'll let them in. It was Friday tea time, and I went, aye, what is it? And they were like that. Oh, can we talk to you? I went, come on, what is it? And they went, no, it's about you. We're up to arrest you. And I went, wait a fucking minute. Am I not the fucking victim here? There's a bomb under the motor. I've been fucking slashed. Right, what is up to arrest me for? They says, we'll tell you when we get into the police station. But I thought they thought they'd heard me conspiring to fucking murder people or whatever, but it wasn't like that. See, we went into the police station. They put me on a taped interview, and they went, you were at this nightclub boho, and you were shooting at the bouncers and calling them names, and I went, is that it? And they says, what are you going to say in the end? I says, I'm saying fuck all. I says, it's one load of shite.
Yeah.
It was just to get me off the street. So it was. So they kept me in for the Friday to the Sunday, to the Monday, but something happened late on Saturday night. The Blinkmobile, as I called it. that was sitting outside my flat, and they've decided so they can't bomb it, so they petrol bombed it. So 4 CID come up to my cell on a Sunday morning. I'm just lying there. You know, you're lying in a cell. There's fuck all today. You know what I mean? And 4 of them, they weren't up to take me to church, Shaun. You know what I mean? Being a Sunday morning, and they says to me, "Listen, your car get petrol bombed last night." I went, "My car get petrol bombed?" I says, "And where were you?" It just went. So that was then I went to court on the Monday, right? And my lawyer says to me, "By the way, you can through a private hearing, and a private hearing in Scotland is a top charge. That you're in private, and it's supposed to be serious." But my lawyer's like, "I mean, this is a breach of the peace. You shouldn't have been in a private hearing." But it was because of all this stuff was happening. But when we went into court, I breached the peace. The PF stood up, this woman.
It's a non-prisonable offence, isn't it?
It's fuck all, but they had me up on it. It's called an indictment.
Yeah.
Where you could get 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, which was ridiculous. And it was because, see the prosecutor fiscal, the woman, it was a young bird, and she started going, oh yes, he's got bad previous convictions. That's no problem, man. This man's in a gangland war. There's been a bomb under his car. He's been and my lawyer went, wait a minute, this is a breach of the peace here, and you're bringing all that out because that subjuices. But see, the sheriff, to be fair to him, he went, I'll have a word with you later. And my lawyer stood up and went, yes, he's got bad previous convictions. It's a breach of the peace. It shouldn't be in a private closed court hearing. Sorry. And he went bail. So I went back up to my estate, and everybody was like, did you cop a gun or something? I went, no, I was trying to breach the peace. So it was like EastEnders fucking up there. There was something happening in my estate every fucking week with the police or whatever. And I think the neighbours actually fucking loved it. It was better than the soaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that week, I must say, it came in a party, the Old Bailey, and people tried to kill me twice in 2 days, 3 days. But
so Monday there was a how did you say it?
The Friday there was a bomb. Tuesday there was a slashing. Friday I was lifted off the streets, and Saturday night the car got petrol bombed, and Monday I went to this private hearing. So it was a bad week.
Welcome to the world of Ian Blink McDonald, and we are just getting started. This was just the introduction story.
No, that's a later story. That's not even an early year story.
That's one crazy fucking week, isn't it?
I know.
Most people don't go through that in a lifetime, never mind 1 week.
I know. I'm barely into the water here, know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was out last night, Shaun and Peter put me up in my lovely hotel last night, and we meant to just go for a couple of drinks. I ended up fucking steaming. I get barred for a pub. I went doing that. Is it Mafia Street?
Oh, Mafia Street, yeah.
And then there's a pub there, and fucking and I was talking to, and the guy went, oh, you're Neil. I went, what? He went, and don't try and go to any of the other pubs. We owe them and all. I went, oh, fucking great. Welcome to Liverpool. But the Liverpool people are great because we were in a restaurant, and there was a woman there and a couple other people, and they were trying to skip the queue.
Got a beer?
And this woman, aye, fuck it. Aye, thanks, Peter. May as well, I don't drive. And this lovely woman went like that to me. She could have went next, and she went, oh, you're next? I went, oh, that's very kind of you. I says, fuck, you wouldn't get that out in Glasgow, know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're quite friendly people.
Oh, they got a good laugh in Liverpool as well. Yeah. Really good atmosphere.
And I know. Can I tell you this as well before I forget, lads? Do you know it's been 40 years since I've been in the night? I get the nick at 18, and I was in Walton.
Ah, right.
And Risley Grizzly. Have you heard the Risley Grizzly?
Have you been in there?
I haven't been there.
I don't want to get into it too much because I done it in another podcast.
Yeah.
But when I was 18, I was in at the time I was stealing. You know what I mean? I was coming down before I was graduating and getting up. Know what I mean? I was going stealing fucking TVs and videos and all that.
I was in Walton.
I think it was Betamax at the time. Know what I mean? Many cunt knows.
I was in
Walton. Have you been in Walton, Peter?
Yeah, 91.
Well, that's where I get the big sentence.
Yeah.
But I was in 79.
Fucking hell.
I was born in 61. So I was 18, Shaun. It's 40 years ago. And it's... I don't know where the time goes. So I went to Risley Grizzly first. Do you know that?
Risley, yeah.
I think it's a women's prison and that now. But there was no windies and it was fucking mate. I was in there for 3 weeks. Then I got 6 months and I went to Walton. So I did.
Yeah.
And while I was in there, fucking 2 guys escaped. You know what I mean? I heard it on the local. And I went, fucking hell. But it was good. I liked it.
What was your life back in those years then when you were younger?
When I was younger, I don't want to bore you because I went into thing with other stories in that podcast saying, oh, I was born in Springburn, this and that, and approved schools. I'll just shoot into, well, shoot in is the correct terminology because I'm going to talk about shooting. I'll give you just something straight off my head. I was about 26, 27, Shaun, and there was a pub in the corner phase called Shields' Bar. My brother Gary went out with Lorraine, her dad owned it. And Gary, he was wild and all. He got 18, he got 8 years when he was 19 for slashing somebody, you know what I mean? Slashing my throat and get bossed for stabbing somebody, but he's been out of trouble 30 years now.
Wow.
And there's a brother, Alan. The Frees have always been in trouble.
Yeah.
I've got a sister, God bless her, she's quiet.
Have your brothers watched your podcasts?
Oh, aye.
What did they say about
Oh,
them?
they love it. They love it. No, my brother Alan, the story I'm going to tell just now, Alan's 4 years younger than me. And I says, I'm going to tell a couple of the stories because they were all wild, you know what I mean? And this is back in the 80s. Oh, the 80s, I would be in 20s. So there's a story with me, Alan, brother Gary, somebody I was seeing a girl, my mother was going out with a couple of pals with a shotgun there in the pub. No, Shaun, because I'd done something again, right, to somebody, right, somebody been cheeky, right, and they were shouting, comeback's coming. So I says to my young brother, he stayed with my mother's, I says, Alan, see if somebody comes to the door, pull it back, because Shaun knew what the dirty bastards were saying, and it became true. They were saying they were going to send somebody to my mother's door. This is me having an argument with a guy in a nightclub in Glasgow. I'm 23, 24, and some people were saying, by the way, he's sending somebody up to your ma's door to shoot you. That doesn't happen. You don't go to doors with guns and all that. That's no the
Don't
done
bring
thing.
someone's mother into it.
So what happened? We're in this pub. It was a Sunday, and my young brother Alan, who I'm talking about, he'll love the mention here. And
Cheers, Alan.
cheers for my old man and thing with Shaun, telling him all about his. And Shaun, what happened was Alan got a drink spilt on him, and it was 8 o'clock on a Sunday night or something. And he spun round to the house, round to my mother's house. But see, when he was going to the house, he didn't realise there was a car circling round, because a neighbour told me later. And I think they might have thought it was me, because I was just released. I'll tell you this in a minute. I was just released from prison for shooting somebody. So I was a couple of months before it. So what happened with Alan? He changed his shirt,
Self-defence.
and the door went. I'm not guilty. No,
Yeah.
I'm not guilty. You know what I mean? I never done it. I got accused of it. I never done it. But I went to the High Court and all that. But I'll get into that in a minute. But Alan had a spilt shirt, and they've saw him get into the house, and the door. They've trapped the door, and Alan spilt the door, and they fired a shotgun twice. That could have been my mother. That could have been my dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is 35 years ago or something. And so what happened is we're in the pub, and somebody runs into me, because it's only 2 minutes round the corner, and they says to me, your young brother's outside, he's been shot, Alan. I went, what? Fuck. So I ran out, he hadn't been shot. Shaun, he was just He was shocked, really shocked, wild man, you know what I mean? And he's gone like that, and I'm pulling his jumper up, and he went, but I thought he was kidding on. He's gone, 2 guys came to the door, he says, I done what you done, pulled the door to the side, and they fired the fucking gun in. And I went, what? He says, and it was just a bundle of nerves. I went, you've no been shot. So we've ran round, Shaun. We've all ran round to the house, and you could see that the door, one of the bedroom doors had been shot with a shotgun, and you could see pellets, and you could see there was plaster and bits of woods all over the thing. So you know what I did? I got a hoover out. I knew the police were going to be on their way. So I'm not, even the guys have done that, I'll find out who they are, but I'm not wanting to go to the nick. So I'm trying to hoover all the evidence up. You know what I mean? And they caught me, the police arrived, they went, make it down, I'm fucking hoovering all the stuff up. It just came off the fucking walls, you know what I mean? With a shotgun. Aye. And what happened? They took me to the police station. Right, see a couple of months before it, Shaun, there was a shooting, right, where it was alleged 4 men went into a car sales garage in Denniston, and a guy was targeted in the sales office, and he was shot. He wasn't killed, but I heard through the grapevine they were looking for me, right? So I made myself scarce, and I went through to Edinburgh for a week, and a boy had met years before in Durham when I was doing 18 months I got 18 months for stealing out of jailers. And I was 21 or something, 22, and I met this boy Peter. I done a couple of robberies with him, so I did. And I mentioned that in the book, and stayed with him for a few weeks. But
if you want Ian's book, in the description box below this video is a link to it worldwide. You can get it on Amazon.
So after about 5 weeks, Shaun, I get captured. I came back to Glasgow. The CID saw me driving this car, and I got bunched. I tried to get on. It was Gary, and the thing was, that was me. I was in Berlin, and while I was in Berlin, we went to trial, and the guy changed his evidence and all that, so he did. So the judge says, right, the thing was, he's been acquitted, me and other two blocks for this shooting. And while I was in Berlin, when I got the not guilty, the judge says, you're free to go, me and my pals. And they've walked out the dock, and I went to walk out, and the prison officers went, where are you going? I says, well, you heard the judge, not guilty, you walk out. He says, come on, Ian, you've just been done with free prison, assaulting free prison officers in fucking Berlin a couple of weeks before it, and I was remanded, and I was just chancing my arm, you know what I mean? Because they'd been remanded, but Shaun, there was a huge weight lifted off my head. I thought it was going to be 10 or 12 years if things went wrong, you know what I mean? So that was nothing. So I went back to Berlin. I ended up, the charges got watered down, and I went to court. My lawyer came up to see me, and they went, look, they says, I've dropped it from indictment into summary. Plead guilty, you get 6 months. I went to court and I got admonished. Do you know what I says in my mitigation from my lawyer? And that this was kind of a true. I says, the young prison officers in Berlin, they were noising me up because if I had trouble in there a few times, Shaun, in Berlin, and they were coming to my door saying things like, oh, you fucked your bird and all that last night. So I commit myself one day, and I just says, fuck it. And I had one of these plastic cups, and I went to go up the stairs, and this young officer went like that. Where are you going? I just fucking smashed fuck at him with the cup and punched him. Ran up the stair, and all the guys in the top landing in Berlin, they were all throwing furniture and chairs, and so I ended up, the end result, I ended up with 3 assaults and a breach.
Yeah.
So, easy, you know what I mean? So, get away with that. And that was... That was in the early 80s. That was the Ranger Club with Alan. He wasn't shot. But I've got another good story involving a gun as well. We'll get into the gun theme. I know your viewers like crime, Shaun, and crime sells, doesn't it? So
we like the hardest core crime stories on this channel.
Yeah, that's the best ones, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the best ones, definitely. So there's another one. I've just picked one just now. I used to go and see this band in the early 80s as well, when I was a young boy in my 20s. I used to go and see this band, Scheme, Peter, very well known in Glasgow. They would have made it, right? But they were singing CND songs and anti-government and all that. They were really good. They were called Scheme. And I don't know if I mentioned them in Shaun's before, this group. But what happened was, I'm in watching them. They played on a Saturday afternoon, and they played in a place called Maxwell Plums in Clyde Street, which all the viewers in Glasgow my age will know, you know what I mean? So they were playing this Tuesday, Wednesday night, and somebody shouted me, it's nice, Peter. It's nice, isn't it?
Desperados is called.
Shaun's Teetoto.
Yeah.
So this guy's, somebody came in and went, oh, your pal, I'll not mention his right name, you know what I mean? I'll just call him Barry. And I went outside. The next minute he's pulling out a fucking, it's in the book, Assassin in My Shoes, it's called. And he's waving a fucking, a pistol. And he's shouting, I'm going to kill the Irishman. No, the Irishman follow him, that's a way back. And I went, and I knew this guy's, right? And I went, he had a contract for this guy, and I says, no, you're not. I says, don't be fucking stupid. So he's waving his pistol about outside this Maxwell Plums and schemer playing. Only these guys are walking by and they went, here mate, that's a pea shooter. Only in Glasgow would somebody say that. My pal just went like that, pea shooter. Bang, bang, fire into the door. But luckily, Scheme were playing, and they've got loads of songs. I think the song that was playing that night, it's only you're only a cowboy, or only a cowboy. Well, and that drowned out the shooting. But he certainly was a cowboy that night, a real cowboy, with a real gun. So that was a mental instant. Know what I mean?
You've mentioned about all the different, there's like Gangland wars.
Yeah.
Just so people can like grasp this a little bit. Like when people hear Gangland, they think like Bloods, Crips, Bananos versus Gambinos. In Glasgow, how are the gangs structured and who's at war with each other?
How's the gang structures, Shaun? It's a lot to do with your area you're brought up in. See, like say my area, that'd be your gang. Poso, Milton, Pollock. Most of the gangs are based in the schemes. But
so is it like
that used to be years ago, but nowadays there's people from other place, and they're forming kind of a gangs and drug.
So are there like prominent families in the areas? Like this, we had Stephen Sayers on here. His family was a prominent family.
Yeah. Well, I know John Sayers.
Yeah.
John Sayers was in Full Sitting, and I played a couple of games of badminton with him. I didn't know him too well.
Yeah.
But I never met. Is it Stephen and Michael?
Stephen, we had on.
They were in the same time as me.
Yeah.
When I was doing my sentence in England. And I never ever met Stephen or Michael, but I met John. John's a bit of a lad, so yes.
Yeah. Was you prefer Scottish food or English food in jail?
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, wait till I tell you this, wild man. Never mind Scottish or English. I prefer Jamaican food. Everybody was calling me eating a Jamaican. They make black eyed peas and jerk chicken and all that. And I loved that, but black eyed peas, I was going, black eyed peas, it's a group. But no, there was a guy across from me in Long Lartin. His name's Naps, if he's watching us, hello Naps. I saw him in a programme last year. He's doing well for himself. He was doing 18 years, he gets shot 6 times. So what happens in the English jail, Shaun, you can buy your own food. You can buy chicken, steaks, mince, every vegetable, every what do you call it, vegetable of the season stuff and all that, know what I mean?
Fucking brilliant.
Everything, no, it was brilliant. In Scotland, it's back in the caveman ages.
You just get slop on a tray.
You get a tin of tuna and a chicken.
Yeah.
We just got a pot noodle and things like that.
Yeah.
But see, in England, there was guys there. They were better than MasterChef. There was a guy, David Poole. He was in the Knightsbridge robbery. And the meals he was making, because you were getting all the ingredients and everything. But you says English or Scottish, none Jamaican. They used to call me. I used to say to the boys for Jamaica and all that. I says, fucking, I think I'm turning into a Jamaican. No, I love. Have you ever heard the black eyed peas and church chicken? I think it's beautiful.
I had black eyed peas. I had it once in Brixton. I was there
on the rice and that.
Yeah, I was there on an appeal. I'd gone from Accrington, Northumberland, and my solicitor thought I've got a good chance of having an appeal.
Right.
And I ended up travelling down there, and they keep you there for the weekend. And I was in court on the Monday, and stayed there this weekend. And it's the first meal they give us was the black eyed peas and that. And it was the first time I tried it, and it was fucking alright. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I loved it. So I would just buy the boys, and I'd say to them, like, see if I buy you a chicken and all that, can you make a meal? They're getting a meal at it as well. But getting back into the shooting stuff, there's a few in the 80s. I was at a concert, and this was near the end of the 80s. I think it was 1990. And it was in Glasgow. It's a big place called Glasgow Green. And Sheena Easton was there. Sheena Easton is an acclaimed international singer. She moved to America.
Yeah.
She comes from Bells Hill. She had a song you might remember, 95, and she had one of the James Bond theme songs. So she did. I don't know if it wasn't 95, but she had one.
She was massive, wasn't she?
Yeah, massive. Yeah. But Shaun, she wasn't massive in Glasgow that night. She adopted a semi-American accent, and I think she thought she was too big for everybody. And at the end of the concert, when she was on, she's singing 95, and they're all going like, aye, 95, back of the Atlantic fucking ocean. And they were all throwing paper cups and cans and all that. She didn't get in a treat. But that's no the reason I'm saying this story. This story, I came out the concert. I was with my missus at the time and my pal, and we had a bit of rivalry. It was rivalry all the time, and these three people spotted me, and I saw them, Shaun, and I carried on. I put my hand in there, carried on a gun, and it put them off a wee bit, right? Because I knew it was dangerous. No, I knew they would have been gunned up, but I got into my car, and where it was parked, I had to reverse. And I saw them running towards us, and it looked like a fucking shotgun, but I think it was a spear gun, right? So anyway, I managed to fucking reverse out, and I drove up to London Road. People in Glasgow and that will know that. And I'm sitting at the traffic lights, and I went, fucking bastards and all that. I said, fucking going to do them in, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm with my missus and that at the time and all. And they've only jumped into another car, Shaun. And see, when I'm sitting at the traffic lights, I'm sitting there, right? It's about 10 o'clock at night, and I saw this car in my mirror, and it's going fast. I says, this cunt's not going to stop. I didn't realise it was in. Shaun fucked me right into the back of my car, right, and I nearly got shot this time. The car came spinning round, and one of the guys jumped to it, and he done that, seen the car right at my face, and the drivers, and I just fucking managed to get away. And that was a serious incident. So, but that guy paid for that, so he did. He get paid for that, he get shot.
How many attempts have there been on your life?
I'd say about 7 or 8.
Which ones haven't we talked about?
But we've spoke about the two up at the Hugginfield Lock. I've spoken about that one. There's been another 2 or 3, you know what I mean?
You're okay to talk about those?
Aye.
What's the worst nightmare you've had? What was the worst day you've had? What's the worst day you've had?
What's the worst, wildest?
Yeah.
Wildest.
The wildest?
Yeah.
That's a good question for Peter, aye.
With his name being Wildman?
Aye, with your name being Wild Man, I should be asking you that first, but I'll tell you my story first, since you asked. No. Wait, no, this is not going to be too long. This is not going to be too difficult to think about this one, Peter. The wildest night I've ever had, and I've had a few wild nights, right?
Yeah.
2006, it's in the book, Pain in Spain. I was going to Benidorm, right? I'd just been back from Belfast for 2 days. I was mad with it, fully up, and the girlfriend wasn't too happy, you know what I mean? And we left on the Friday to go to Benidorm. But I'd been arrested in Benidorm 20 odd years before that. So we got to the airport, and I met this guy, Jim Brown. He owned Barsini, a pub in Glasgow. And I says to him, this was the Friday, and I says to him, Jim, the last time I was in Benidorm, I get the jail. He says, I'm prodding this fucking donkey on the plane for my man, like a cane t-shirt. And he's went, you're not going to jail this time. So Friday night, we were staying in a hotel called Hotel Melia. It's a 4-star hotel, right? And we were 16 up. The reason I'm saying that, I'll explain later. I'm fucking lucky I never get through it. So the girlfriend, Shaun, at the time, I'll not mention her name. She was an air hostess at the time, but Friday night went okay. I was in a cunty mood because I'd just been on it for 2 days. I was in Belfast, right? And you get the come downs.
Yeah.
And she wasn't happy. So we go to the airport, and we'd been arguing, but things went all right. So we arrived in Benidorm. Friday night was okay, right? Saturday night, down at the pool, went swimmingly. You know what I mean? That was great. Right? But little did she realise, Shaun, right? This is the beginning of the story. Little did she realise that I'd smuggled 7 gram of fucking pure cocaine in my body to Spain, right?
Keep you going.
No, but I wasn't going to take it.
Oh.
Because I'd finger, I says, if she's a bit cheeky, I'll take it. If she's no cheeky. But she wasn't cheeky around the sea by the time it came Saturday night. We went out for a meal and all that, then a karaoke. I was joking to take a line. But the stuff was back in the hotel, right? I'd planked it in the hotel. So we ended up arguing and all that. She says, no, I'm finished, no, and you're finished. So we went back to the hotel and she's went into the toilet or something. I've got this cane and I put a big line out. That's it, it's not it. I'm going, this is fucking brilliant. And she came in, she went, what the fuck's that? And I grabbed the bag in case she tried to fucking kick it or something. And she went, where did you get that for? I says, I brought it with me. She says, you brought that through the airport? I went, oh, I was bringing it with that. Right? So I had a couple of bottles of the San Miguel there. So I went out of the landing. This was about 12 o'clock. And I was swinging my boat up San Miguel, another Patsy. That's what they call it in Glasgow, a Patsy. Yeah. And what happened was I looked at the stars and the stars were saying to me, Ian, you're in Benidorm on a Saturday night, get on out there. Yeah. So you know what I done? I came in and she went, oh, you junkie bastard and all that, right? But she took it as well, you know what I mean? She was just raging. So I went like that. I had my flip-flops, my shorts, my T-shirt on. And I went into the wee safe. It's about €400, right? Shoot my Charlie. So I walked into this taxi rank. So there was an older guy at the front and there was a younger guy at the back. So I'm thinking, right, the older guy, I says to him, because I knew what I was going to do, I says to the older guy, listen, mate, I says, can I use the younger guy? He went, no, I'm first. I says, no, here's €10. He went, okay. So the younger guy jumped in and I went, I says, all right, mate. He went, yeah. I went, take me to brothel. Right? This is the beginning of the thing. This story is mental.
Oh boy.
This story, and I'm sure Peter will have a few mental stories and yourself, Shaun. But this, he asked me that, so this is a wild story, right?
Yeah,
one of my wildest nights, and it's just hotting up here, right? So he says, take me to a brothel, right? So he started taking me outside the outskirts of Benidorm, and I'm fully see this stuff, Shaun.
Paranoid.
It was dynamite, right? So I'd had about 3 lines there. So I went, mate, am I going to be all right and all that? And he's gone, aye, this is right in the dark. And it was like a wee kind of a row of houses, a wee pub. And I went, I'm going to get fucking bunked here or something, you know what I mean? So the guy went, listen, go in there. He says, you'll be sorted. He says, I'll wait for you, mate. I says, will you wait for me? I says, look, I'm not going to be in long, right? I went, you're not going to be in long, but you're going to get that. You know what I mean? So I went in. And there was about 10 girls standing about, Shaun. And me in my haste, right, I was like that. I grabbed one of them and she looked like Kylie Minogue. So she did, right? And she went, you like me? I went, aye. And then the madame came out and she says, would you like to go with that girl? I went, aye. She says, well, do you want to get her a drink? I went, aye. And she went, what do you drink? I says, a vodka and coke, get the girl in. She went, €80. And I went, €80? I says to myself, well, look, I'm getting fucked, but I'm only in for a fuck, right? So I wasn't really bothered, no, I mean, but I just went, no bother, she's not getting another one. So she says to me, hey, how long do you want to get in me for? I says, as short as possible. My name's blank, so I'm in and out quick. You know what I mean? I did, Shaun. It was just, it was something wicked in my mind. I was saying, see, the girlfriend, I'm getting her back. But what am I getting her back for? She's not done nothing.
But in your head she had.
I know. That's right, mate. So, Shaun, I went in with her, right? Honest to God, I wasn't even a minute. There was a mirror in the room, and my shorts were after. I kept looking at the mirror saying, somebody going to come in here and steal my shorts, because it was a wee out. right? So that never happened. And so no, what she says to me, I was only a minute, she went, is that it?
Yeah.
So I'm a bit embarrassed. And Shaun, €150 for that.
Did she give you a discount?
And I went like, that's here, you should be so lucky.
Yeah.
That's one of Kylie Minogue songs that you've only had them in, because 150 can you for no even a minute is a lot. So anyway, I came out of there, and this was the Kylie Minogue, right? That was over €200 spent in there. I came out, the taxi driver sitting there, right? And I'll try and say this story quick, because it is a bit long.
No, you take as long as you want.
No, because it is a bit long.
It's okay, it's fine, honestly. No, it's fine. It's fine. We like the longer the better.
Okay,
Longer the better.
Yeah, I'll try and finish it.
The story is not finished yet. It's going to be. It's just.
Shaun, I've got the paperwork say thing with it. If you can read in Spanish.
Yeah.
But you see it, it's in the newspaper, not a Glasgow newspaper.
We love long stories.
So, right, so Shaun, this story's just heating up, right? So this is
Just
me.
heating up.
I've been in Kylie Minogue. Is that it? You should be so lucky, right? So the taxi driver's still there, the young guy, because I says, look, mate, I says, I'll give you a good tip. You know what I mean? I had €400 or €500 that I took out the safety box and the safe in the room. And so what happens is I says to the guy, I says, mate, that was fucking brilliant. And he went, you all right? I went, I've only done a minute, mate. What's with that? So I says to him, mate, I says, listen, you used to go like this, right? You know, I used to like this, because it's a good subject to use, and it's how your downfalls came. I says to the guy, they're called all different things, right? Ecstasy, not. I says, listen, I says, try to pigeon talk. Can you get me for ecstasy? Right? And he went, yes. I says, can you take me to all night rave? Yes. I says, mate, there's a good tip in it for you. So Shaun, he took me back in town, and was glad, know what I mean? But the guy turned out all right. He got me 4 eckies. They were only about tenner each, right? Shaun, I gave him £100. I gave him £100 tip.
Wow.
No, I wasn't get a fuck. No, I mean,
Yeah, he was a good guy.
I was going to get a fuck and get my freaking eckies.
Yeah,
You know that.
yeah.
He was a good guy, so I gave him £100 tip, and so that was what. I still had about €150 or something anyway, but I still had my coke, right? This dynamite coke. So I'm 48 years of age, right? No, I'm not 48 years of age. This is 2006. I'm 44, 45, right? And I'm getting like that, right? And I'm like that. I could build enough to be half of the girls and that, and the rave dads, you know what I mean? Here's me going like that, yeah, this is fucking great, been to a brothel, knew I'm at a rave, 4 eckies, right? And I went into the toilet, took a wee sneaky line. I didn't really need it because of the eckies. So the story's getting good now. So I've wandered, Shaun, I've come out of there about 7 in the morning, right? And I'm blazing, right? I've been drinking as well. I'm drinking eckies, cocaine. So I went into this wee Irish pub, all the pubs in Spain all open, some open all night and all that. So I'm in I've ended up staggering. I didn't know where I was. I ended up staggering into this wee Irish pub, and there was a wee couple there, the barman. So there's 3 guys, 3 English guys, right? So I says, they were playing pool, and I says, mate, we went, aye, no bother. So I kept getting into the toilet twice, and one of them went, here, big man. He says, you're fucking blazing. I says, mate, I shagged Kylie Minogue. I've been to a rave, get 4 eckies. I says, I've got this got. And they were like that. And he says, going to use one? I went, aye. Still got 2 or 3 gram left. So I gave him a couple of lines. Do you know what they says to you, Shaun? There were 3 workers, right? There were 3 workers in Benidorm. And talking about him half an hour. And they went, by the way, that stuff's fucking great. Where'd you get it? I says, I brought it from Glasgow. They're like, what? That's for Glasgow? I says, aye, that's for Glasgow. So as the morning went on, right, so 10:30, 11, I went, I'm going to get into sing me the hotel, right? And I get into the hotel. So I says to the guys, I says, listen, I says, does any of you know what the hotel Mamilia is? And they all went, aye. And before saying anything else, I went, why don't you run me to my hotel? I thought it was miles away, right? I'll give you a gram of that. Oh, will you? I went, aye. Shaun, it was only round the corner. I was that fucking failure. Right, short eared, wild man. It was only just literally 2 streets. So no wonder this is it. So I'm sitting in the car, right? But I don't know my girlfriend. She's stoning. It's about 10:30, 11. She's stoning at the front of the entrance, right?
Waiting for you.
So I've been out for about 12:30, as you say, 10:30, 11. And so she saw me sitting with this guy. So I know what she says, and I send myself up in the book, and that's not what I mean. And because it's just no, I got I make fun of myself as well. I try to make the book quite funny as well. When I wrote it, I just didn't like this and that, and just lighten it up.
Some humour in, is it?
Yeah. I think that's quite better. Wild man, know what I mean? A lot of Sean's, a lot of humour in this book.
Especially
and he keeps
man stories.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to ask him his stories in a minute. So this story's nearly finished, but this is the finale coming up. So she's standing there, and I saw her and I just walked right by her, and she went like that to me.
Yeah.
No, she says to me, Peter, she went, is that your boyfriend? Because she saw me the guy with the car. No, I turned around and went, and what if that is? I'm on Eckies, I'm on Coke, I'm on drink, right? So I'm walking towards the reception. She's only 10 hours to get her stuff out or whatever. We've never even had much stuff. We're only gone there for 4 days. A wee short break. She shouted, am I no getting my stuff out the bedroom? And I went, no. So she ran out to the reception desk and she shouted, I want security. You know what I done? I fucking just got up and went right out to the reception desk and went, do you know what? Get the fucking police here. Fuck the security. I'm away with it by then. I'm just away with it. But then I'd done the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I walked by her and I says to her, and there was a big crowd of people checking in and I says to her, I says, listen, I says to her, see if the police come up to this door. I says, I'm going to battle them. Shaun, wild man, you can't batter fucking Spanish police. I've all got guns on them. But see, when I say something, I mean it, right?
Yeah.
And see when I was going up, and it was 16 up, but see when I was going up, I went, oh no, I hope the police don't come up. I says, because my head was away with it, right?
But you said this, so you're going to follow through.
So I've got to follow through. This is what I'm thinking on my drug-induced state. And so I went up to the flat, still got about 2 gram of gear left, the supersonic stuff, taking big lines, and I'm walking up in the flat, and I'm going like that. See if they come in that door, I'm going to attack them. Then I'd walk up again, I go, no, you don't, just cool down. Then I'd take another big one like that. And I was like that. I fucking just attack them. But I'm not thinking of the consequences of the guns. So I phoned a pal up and I told him the situation. He went, oh, come on, you're on holiday. And I says, look, I've had a big argument. I've got coat. He says, get rid of it. So as soon as I put the phone down to him, you know, when I get rid of it, I put it on the table and took another big line. But this time I'm Superman. Shaun, the moment of truth dawns. The door goes, right? Remember, we're 16 up in this place. I went, and I just took another big line, and I felt like Superman. And I says, right, I'm going to fucking attack you if you're there. Shaun, open the door. 2 young police. She's in the middle. 2 security guards, right? And I went, but see, to be perfectly honest, right, I'm not thinking, just going to say, they're cunts and all the rest of it, right, because this is the right story. See the 2 policemen, right, they were at 26, 27, they were civil, they were nice, and they says to us, listen, can we come into the room to get her belongings? And I says, no. I says, you've got a fucking warrant. And they went, what? And I went, slammed the door. So I went, right in, get ready. get ready, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So you know what I done, Shaun? The door came flying open, I ran out, see the bedside table. This is the wildest night of my life, you know what I mean? The wild man's asking me. This is the story. I grabbed the lamp and I fucking ran out and I smashed one of them in the head with it. Shaun, this is true. This is true. It's in the book, Pain in Spain, right? So I smashed him with the head, but see, the twos are in the deck, he's trying to get his gun, right? And I'm like that, and see the other cop and the two security guards, we've ended up out in the balcony, right? But they've had my thing, my cuffs in the back, and she's in the room as well. So they were like, ah, you fucking bastards. So they're rolling their sleeves up. Do you know they've got the big long buttons? So they brought them out, right? I knew I was in for a attack. I'm on the balcony, right? 16 up. And I didn't want her to see that I'm showing any fear. And it was so. See, if I never had ecstasy, cocaine, drink.
You know you're going to get a walloping.
Aye. So know what they done? They went, come on, they were smashing me. Right, do you know what I was shouting, Shaun? I was shouting. Instead of going, I was going harder. But yeah, not only because she was standing with a smirk in her face, but she says to me when I spoke to her for months later, she says, I says, look, you did. I says, and I wasn't giving you the satisfaction of me shouting, But see, the drugs, they numbed it a wee bit, but I could fucking feel it. Well, wait to hear the best about it. Yeah. Right, wait to hear this, wild man. Right, wait to hear the best about it. They've only fucking left me and took my cuffs off. They went, we've done them too much damage. They broke my fingers, there was fucking damage, bruises all down my fucking leg. And I'm surprised there was nothing broken, know what I mean? So I was in a bit of a state. Do you know what I had done? Stupidly. And I still can't believe this. I was unconscious for about a minute, Shaun. And they went out the door.
Go after
them.
Right?
Aye! I fucking only ran out the fucking door. They were running and I went, come on! And I jumped right on top of them. So by this time, they've got me down. They've got me in the lift, right? The security guards. And they went, you think you hard, man, blah, 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 blah. Palty's gone out and they put it in my mouth.
Fucking hell.
I've never shit myself so much in all my life. No, I've never shit myself so much in my life. So he went, you fucking hell. And I'm putting it right in and I'm going, fucking hell. So see me get down at the bottom of the thing there. I hadn't the thing was stopped yet. I managed to run away from him. I just fucking ran away in my flip-flops. And the next minute they ran after me and I went flying. They got me with the feet. And I went flying, so they put me in this van, and I just went mental. I was fucking banging weed off the window, right? But
cocaine, psychosis by this time, aren't you?
But see this cocaine, wild man, it was fucking strong.
It was strong.
These guys from England were like, where the fuck did you get that?
Yeah.
So the story's coming to an end, and there's a wee bit of a punchline here, you know what I mean?
I don't want it to end, I'm just gripped.
Yeah, right. I am too.
So they've got me to the police station, right? Shaun, I thought I was in for a tanking in my life, right? To be fair again, they never touched me, right? I could say, I've got tortured, but no, that never happened. So,
you've got enough though, haven't you? You know
I know, well,
you've given you the walloping. Like.
I know, so I did, and I was very lucky, right? Because seen later weeks when I thought about it as well.
Yeah.
Right, see when they found out my conviction, 16 years, 2.5 years for a gun.
If you had your cocaine and all that through you, man, you'd have been fucking hurting.
Wild man, do you know what I'm surprised they never done? I'm surprised they never just threw me on that fucking balcony. They'd have got away with it.
I was thinking they would dangle you.
You know, thinking that?
Yeah.
Shaun, they would have got away with that. See my convictions and me attacking them. But see, if they knew that, they probably would have put me on the fucking balcony.
If they knew your convictions, you probably would have.
Aye, that's what I'm saying. They would have just right there. So anyway, we were in the police station. They put me in with 5 guys, right? Algerians, I think it was, in Spanish. So this is a kind of a laughing bit here, right? Now there is a wee bit of funny bit to it, right? And because I'm acting a bit smart, and so I'm in for a couple of days. They wouldn't give me a couple of watts. Other boys, so see the boys, the Algerians and all that, they're going, oh mate, you got the nick and all that. They says, you end up getting pumped. And I went, I says, then I went, here. I says, I'm not just this wee tourist. It's just been lifted for a stupid wee thing and all that. I says, I've been in prison. I says, Etta? They went, aye. I sit with IRA. Right? So I'm letting them know I'm not after. IRA trained the Etta. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The best terrorists?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's believed that the IRA trained them. So I sat with the IRA in the neck. Right, there's a lot of good guys in there. Even though a lot of people wouldn't freaking agree with that, but there's still people in there in the neck. You've got to get along with them. So I was going like that. Etta? And they went, what? I went, I says, don't think I'm a fucking stupid thing, mate. Can't, because they're going, oh, you get shagged and all the rest of it. So anyway, we got to court, the story's coming to an end, and I've been appointed a Spanish girl, right? She was at 30 or something. So she came to see me. She's got no foot like a state, you know, and I can know. And she can speak English. She says, okay, this is what's happening today. You're getting an 8-month prison sentence, right? And I made a joke of this, right? But I did think this was a wee bit true, Shaun, right? I made a joke of this and I went, right, okay then. I says, 8 months, no problem. I says, I'll be lying at the swimming pool. The prison officers will come over for sangria and my breakfasts. She went, swimming pool? I went, swimming pool? She went, who told? I said, there's swimming pools in Spain, isn't there? She went, who told you that? And what she says? I says, what's in them? And she went, rats, maggots and faggots. Meaning the Algerians and all that. It was in the
rats, maggots and faggots.
She says that, and I was talking about the Algerians going, oh, you get pumped in the neck and all that. So I went like that, Shaun. I just kind of went, my whole thing went, oh, wait a minute. Is there any other way out of this? She went, have you any convictions? And see, before I can let her stop, do you know what I says, Shaun? I says, does Big Ben tell the time? Old Bailey, Edinburgh High Court, Hamilton, Dumfries, this, that. And she went, no, because never let her finish. Have you any convictions in Spain? And I went, what's that good? And I went, no. She went, you're a first offender here. Did you know that? Do you know this is what happens in Spain and some other countries? Because I'll just come off the story just a wee tiny bit. There was a guy called, I'm sure his name was Archie McCafferty, and he came out for Australia, Shaun. He was a Scottish guy, get deported 20 years ago, right? It was all in the papers and that. He got done with a couple of things, right? So guess what happened? See, in Scotland, he was treated as a first offender. He'd killed 3 guys. This is true.
Wow.
So Spain, that's what happened. So when I've rattled all that, Big Ben and all that, tells the time and all that, she went, no. She went, right, she says, okay then. I get you suspended sentence, 8 months. Maybe compensation you pay. I went, fucking right, I'll pay. So, Shaun, I thought I was going to treat into a courtroom. It was a room, sorry. It was a room with a big long desk. And I didn't, and she went, just keep your mouth shut, right? Just keep your mouth shut. You're getting out. First, I was like, right. You know what I mean? Oh, I got out, all right. I got an 8-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years, and they gave me, I was surprised, they only gave me €600 fine.
Wow.
I brought paperwork today, but it's in Spanish and all that, right? And it was in the paper about what happened anyway. And but that was one of the wildest nights of my life.
That's fucking crazy, man.
It's all the craziest stories I've ever heard.
So we had Kylie Minogue, the rave, and the boys at the thing with me, and
we're going to do a clip, the craziest night.
So you're no called Wild Man for nothing.
I haven't got one to compare with that one, really.
No, but you must have a couple. I like the one about you. You done your wee triology, Wild Man in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
The dogs followed you and all that.
Oh, I just feed some steak and stuff. And then they'd turn around and, because every night time there, the dogs would come, but we'll go for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'd have like 4 or 5 dogs and sort of fucking protect you. And they'd go for the stray dogs. And all you do is give them a bit of steak.
I seen when I was younger as well, Shaun, seen I was only about 19, right? There was 3 guys in the town. They were well known in Glasgow. The 3 Johns, I call them. There was John Friel, John Len, John Kavanagh. John Kavanagh had a nightclub. What's the name of it? Club de France. And did you hear me talk about the Irishman earlier, where the guy came into the door and he went, I'm going to kill the Irishman?
Yeah.
John Friel. He died a few years ago. So as Shaun, John Len. He had a few businesses. He was a good friend of mine. So I was 19 and I kind of a thing with on their shirt tails. They get in all the nightclubs in Glasgow. And there was the nightclub, the Warehouse, the Mardi Gras, Ultratech, there was Panama Jacks, Henry Africa's, Videodrome, who a big guy I know very well, had that. And it was just a big pub with all these TVs.
Are they all in the Gorbals?
But this is... Aye, most of them are for the Gorbals. John Friel for the Gorbals. Aye, this Videodrome, Colin Robertson had that. And... But then it was good. No, I mean, we were like Pied Piper, know what I mean? Well, he was like Pied Piper and we were all fooling him in and all that. But they 3 guys done well. But John Len, who's a very good friend of mine, and I've not saw him for a wee while. John's good. John's about 60 odds. I met him in England. He was doing 17 years. He was doing Blackpool. And allegedly shot somebody, you know what I mean? A UDA guy. And John ended up getting 17 years for it. So he did. And there's a kind of funny wee story, because I got to jail in 91. I think John was in for about 88. So I was in full sitting at the time. And John done me a massive favour. I never had a TV for about 8 years, Shaun. So I was an avid reader. And I've always been a kind of a good reader, know what I mean? It was yourself, know what I mean? And Wildman. But
gets you out your cell, doesn't it?
You can float away. I would get into a book and see like say the dispersal system was in for 9 years. All the guys were all kind of playing me funny stunts. So Ian, here's a book, 1,000 pages. It's brilliant. And they knew I was the type of guy, Shaun. See, when I read a book, right, I can't put it down after 50 or 100 pages and float away. I persist, because sometimes a good book, you don't get into it to 200, 300 pages.
My favourite author does like 13, 1400 pages. James Clavell did Shogun.
Right, aye.
It's one of my dad's favourite shows.
Yeah. But do you know what happened, Shaun? These guys, a couple of times that happened to me, and the books were push 1,100 pages, and I kept saying to my pals in Long Lartin, when's this book going to get better and all that? So talk about John Len anyway. Get 17 years for the shooting in Blackpool, the UDA guy. So he was in HMP Franklin's in 1994, and I was in Full Sutton. So I'd been in 3 years. Johnny was in about 6 or something. So I used to get up to... I went up to Franklin for 6 weeks to be near Scotland, and John was the pass man in the gym. Oh, he was good at that badminton. See the badminton and the soft tennis. He was 10 years older than me. He always beat me. So same as the other guy, Mickey Gillette for Preston. I was telling you about, and but John, we know what he done. He got me a wee Casio TV, and it was only about 3 inches. Got a box of Alpen, right? Opened the Alpen up, put it in the Alpen, and sealed it. At that time, there was no X-rays, and you could buy food, so I put that in amongst tins of tomatoes, and so I took it down to Full Sutton, and I had this wee TV for 5 months. I was watching Match of the Day, you know, and that, and a wee tiny TV. Years later, we were to get a TV 16 inches, 18 inches, but this was great. So in Full Sutton there was a there was a lockdown search. They thought that the IRA had Semtex in, right? I think it was a load of bollocks just to fucking get ready search it, right? So they picked out a few hundred prisoners. They picked out 50 for a special search. I was one of them. And see the TV. Right, do you know how I used to take it out at night? No, I used to, do you know where I planked it? I never made a stash for it. It was, see, an ordinary search. They just come in, they'll search, if you get cornflakes, your Alpin there, whatever. But see this day, because it was a special search, and you'd spices and all that in jars. So they were emptying them out, and I'm standing outside, I'm going, fuck, because I just had this Alpin sitting on my cupboard. So they were coming in ordinary searches and not even finding it, because it was just an ordinary, because it's Alpin. But they were wide this day, they were fingering everything, emptying everything out. And I'm standing outside the cell and I'm going, fuck, it's nearly 2 weeks to Christmas. I'm going to miss the TV. I'm going to miss the TVs. Because nobody had it. You could wire it to the light so you could. And I used to just let me put a blanket on my door so there was no shadows and you could see it. It was great, you know what I mean? So with TV. So this is what happened. I went, oh fuck, they're going to empty out that fucking open box, you know what I mean? And they emptied it out and they came out and they went, what's that in? I says, that must be a free gift in with the thing with the cereal. No, you used to get wee free gifts. And the two officers, it was a woman and a man, they were howling, they went, tell the governor that. Oh, no, no bother. But no, that was thing we talked about the Free Johns for Glasgow. They were better men, you know what I mean? And they were all gentlemen and all that. But there's another shooting I want to tell you about, Shaun. Oh my God, fuck's sake. How you the fucking...
We love shooting.
I know. But see the funny thing, Shaun? Well, touch wood. I've not been shot yet, right? It'll probably happen at some time, right? But
touch wood it doesn't.
Make sure it doesn't happen to you there. So I've got a chapter in the book called My Famous Alibi, right? So there was a wee guy, I'll call him Versace, right, in Glasgow, Jackie lad, fucking Porsche, selling Eckies, all the fucking rest of it. He get wide, so he get done, right? So shouting about his brother and all that as well, know what I mean? His brother's coming out and acting he's going to do this and do that. So his brother tried something, and I went to Rossi. I went to Rossi on the Monday. I went with my missus, kids, and my ma and my stepdad. And the next morning, stepdad's like, so-and-so's been shot in the paper. That's Fingby's brother, Versace's brother, isn't it? And I went, fucking good. They can't. But he'd been shot in the city centre, Shaun, right in the city, in Merchant City. He got shot right in the fucking stomach. He was in intensive care. You know what I mean? So this is where My Famous Alibi comes into it. So I came back for Rossi. I've not done it, right? Shaun, I get charged with it. True story, right?
The usual suspect. Right,
so what happened was, it was about a year before I went away for the big sentence. It was 28, 29. So I came back for Rossi. I told the police were at my ma's door, and I had a boathouse up in Bishop Briggs at the time, up in Spam Valley and Crow Roads. You know what I mean? And what happened was, I knew they were after us, right? So I phoned my solicitor, Joe Shields, who I had for years, and he says, right, Ian, he says, I phoned the police down in Stewart Street. They want you to come down and see them. There's no an arrest warrant out. I says, you sure? He says, I've seen it. So I says to the missus, I says, have dinner ready for me. I went down at 5 o'clock. See, as soon as I get down to that station, they fucking jumped on top. I was walking in. They jumped on top of me and you're under arrest for attempted murder. So I was in Berlin just put me in Berlin, and I went, I know how it feels.
Okay, like, you just go and give you your side, won't you?
I know, I says, I know, I says to myself, I know what it feels to be like an innocent man, know what I mean?
Yeah.
My pal in the Barry had got 18 years, and for a bank he never done, and he was in the riot in Berlin and all that, and he died last year, which was at his funeral, and he was a good guy, isn't he? And but he got rough justice got him at it, so they did. They measured the guy, they had a photo still of a guy at the bank door taking a case, and they measured the Ernie was too big, the guy was too wee, so he got for the rough justice, compensation and that. He done a couple of years. So anyway, my famous alibi, I get arrested, charged, and I usually say a no comment, Shaun, right? All the time, no comment. So I know I'm innocent, right? So we're sitting in Stewart Street, and the CID, they said, we're going to do your taped interview. I went, yeah. I hadn't even told my lawyer, Joe Shields, about my famous alibi, who I'm going to tell you in a minute. He's a famous person. You know what I mean? I think he's dead now, but he's really famous, right? And they were going to come to court for me, right? Him and his wife. So I told you I'd been Rossi, so I'm back. So I agreed to get into the police station. They all jumped and said, taped interview, blah, 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 blah. They says, okay, then where were you saying the Wednesday night at 8 o'clock? I says, Rossi. They all looked and went, well, aye. Who were you there with? I was there with my mother, son, my ma, stepdad. Are you sure you weren't in the Merchant City in Glasgow? I went, no, they says, it's quite easy for you to come back in the ferry. You know what I mean? And go back out again and whatever, all that shit. So I went, no, they says, so who was it? Your mother and all that. Any more witnesses? And this is where it comes out. I says, aye. I says, Sir Richard Attenborough. David Attenborough's brother. Right? And do you know how this came about, Shaun? No, I know how this came about. We weren't there in his house or nothing. Shaun, do you know how this came about? We weren't there in his house or in a pub with him. My stepdad was a big film buff. So we didn't realise at the time, but we've put it in the book. We've done a bit of research. Richard Attenborough's got a huge estate in Rossi. So him and his, and on a huge estate, him and his wife were out working, walking the dogs. We were driving round the island, right? It's a wee island, Rossi. So we're driving round, and what's the Richard Attenborough and that. So we stopped halfway down, and we get talking to him. Shaun, see the time of the shooting? There was about a 10-15 minute gap for them. So there's no way you can get from Rossi to Glasgow in 15 minutes. Yeah. It takes you about an hour and a half. Wow. So wait you hear what happened in the interview room in the police station. So they were like that, and this guy went like that with a pen. He says, are you taking the fucking cunt out of me? And I went, no. And my lawyer even took, because I didn't even told my, because I just thought I was going up the road for my dinner again. Because he says there's no warrant and I've no done it. And he went, for Sir Richard Attenborough. I went, I've never heard so much garbage. I went, well, that's my witness. He asked, did I see anybody else? So
I bet they were fucking fuming.
Oh, they were gutted. See when I said, but see the thing, wild man. I still get fucking remanded. They took me to court the next day. They went, he's talking shit. And they interviewed fucking my man. They interviewed Sir Richard Attenborough. He was going to go to court.
You interviewed him?
Aye. He was going to go to court and all that. So he was, Shaun.
So he was on your side?
Aye, without a doubt. Yeah. So it never went to court. And but that's who my witness was going to be. But this guy was blasted. There was a serious condition. You know what I mean?
Bastards, aren't they?
And it was that little cunt Versace I mentioned earlier on. He got, his brother got shot, and he got fucking his brother's girlfriend and another lassie. They were in this flat to pick me out. They says I was there. That's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking picked me out. They says I was there and a couple other guys. So that was that. And after a week, maybe just 10 days, the police, they were satisfied. It wasn't me bad to spend 10 days in prison charged with attempted murder. You know what I mean? No, it was crazy.
So you said earlier there were some other attempts on your life. Is there any stories behind them?
Aye. Well, when I was in my 20s again, had trouble with other people, mere rivals, right? And
What are these troubles just arising over? That's a different part of Glasgow, like you said earlier. That's what causes the trouble, or is it trouble over debt, drugs, women, whatever?
it was mostly debts and sometimes drugs as well, you know what I mean? And could be a variety of reasons. Or it could be, Shaun, I used to be quite a nightclub guy all the time. I'm still a fucking bad for everyone in the city centre.
Yeah.
And you could be in a nightclub.
So you're fighting in the nightclub?
Aye, something happens, it just, the thing me escalates and that, so it does. But no, there was another time that two people jumped out with guns. So they did in the street. And they pulled guns up to me, and they never fired them. Nearly did.
Did you know what that was over?
Aye, that was their trouble again, so it was. And they never fired them, and I was quite shocked, you know what I mean?
Was it just to scare you?
They had the guns pointed at me. But no, there was a pal with me, and there was two pals with me, in fact, and we didn't think they had guns. We never had guns on us that day. And they pulled the guns out, pointed the guns at us. And my other pal says, by the way, you fucking shoot him, you need to shoot the two of us. And we were shocked, they backed away. You know what I mean?
So the first time you ever got a gun pointed at you, how was that feeling?
That was scary.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kid on, Shaun. It was scary because if a gun gets pointed at you, you're 99% chance of dying.
Yeah.
No, it's a scary thing. So it is. You know what I mean?
But as it happened more and more times,
I didn't give a fuck.
You started not to give a fuck.
No, I didn't give a fuck. And people used to say to me at a young age as well, before I went to prison at 30, Shaun, they used to say to us, are you not scared and all that? There's people came to my door and all that a few times. You know what I mean? They says, you're not scared that you're lying in your bed and you should be... I says, this is a way of life for me now. You know what I mean? And people were kind of amazed what my reaction was. Because most people just fucking... I know a lot of people that's moved the country and all that, they've been threatened. But I've never been one for running away. There I have.
Yeah. And we recently posted a video of the police smashing up where you live now.
There he's go, Police Scotland. Just caught them getting out the close there. They weren't there to give me a Christmas present. I thought there was the Santa at the door. What do you see standing at my door? You see this? Get that? Huh? Half a door. There's a little bit. Who's that all about? You leave your house for an hour and you come back and you've got half a door. Well, wait a minute. I come from Blackhill, I'm to Need now. I remember a family from Blackhill. They used to bring a horse up to their house. Lots of people know this. And they had the door sawed in half. Like the toilet door. Look at this, look. You know. And now, finger. What? So we just walked into my house there. See if I found my Charlie. Fuck. He's been better. Back in the days. I got 3 grand the last time, what did he get this time? Did he think I'm a horse? Look at that. A half a door. I'm laughing now. Yes. Off the door. So, I've taken my house in here, look. Yes. Look at that. Look at animals get treated better. I've just come back from George Square, ladies and gentlemen, now. I'm still needing tidy up. What's the use of fixing the fucking camera? I know I can laugh, but has ever came to half a door? Hello, door. That's a new picture. I don't know. What the fuck? Who's going to fix this mess? Eh? Let's see. Sorry, I just went in my stash and never get the Charlie. Thank fuck for that. They go to the last thing when I get a £20 fine. Fucking hell. What's this all about? I've not even done fuck all. Huh? 3 motors were doing there. 2 of them's drove away. I wish I would have videoed it earlier, but it says, sorry Mr McDonald, we're concerned for your welfare. And it says, when the fuck have you ever been concerned for my welfare? You know what I mean? It's usually the part of my cunt and going, what do you want for your breakfast in the morning? Another good barn? Fuck. Look at this. By the way, contrary to belief, I've got a few called a shop at John Lewis. No wonder you're laughing then. This is what's happening, you know what I mean? It's a Christmas. Look. She acts as a thing. She acts as a laugh. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. Oh, bells. Can't believe this. Oh well, I suppose we'll tell James English about this fucking... You know what? I mean, that fuck up the last thing we were looking for a gun. I don't know many things we've been up in this house. And that's me going straight. Fuck. What did they put through a chainsaw? Am I a fucking international drug baron or something? You know what I mean? Merry Christmas, please Scotland. Thank you very much, you bunch of bastards.
Right, well, again, that's something you'll have to tell us, not from behind the door.
No, well wait a minute. You've no legal requirement to do this to me, by the way.
Unfortunately, we do.
Well, see if you do, tell Menzies.
Right, go and come back to the door so we can speak to you about this.
Tell Menzies, by the way. Because I'm ready to fucking die. Ready.
Right, well,
do you know what? I've had fucking enough of yous up to here. Early years.
Listen to me.
I'm not listening.
Right, well, look.
Put the fucking door in. Come on, big boys.
We need to speak to you.
No, speak to me at the door.
Well, no, we need to take you to the office.
I fucking say here and that's it.
What's your name, pal?
What do you mean, what's my name?
I don't know, you might have just come off.
Here, my name's Ian McDonald, right? I'm not fucking getting my door put the fucking door in. Mate,
Put your door in.
where do you fucking go? You stay every week.
Right, well, why don't you just open it?
For what?
That's the cost of the door.
Fuck, here, mate, this door's only been glued apart of me. Go a new door.
Big man, why can you not deal with this legitimately?
No, because yous are no gentlemen and I'm not a gentleman. Yous have been after my fucking arse for years.
Well, maybe we just go to the office and speak to you.
Speak to me, what?
You'll be out soon enough.
Aye, so I will. Fuck's sake. She's trying to say one load of shite. Man down all that. Mate, I fucking threw her gear out, that was it.
What's that, pal?
I threw her gear out. It's my house. I never assaulted her.
Unfortunately, we've got to speak to you and interview her about it.
Mate, I never assaulted her.
Well, I'm saying that's allegation.
Aye, the allegation's one load of shite.
Well, we're not saying you're guilty of it. We need to
You're guilty of it, for fuck's sake. Here. You know what you do? Just put the fucking door in and that's it. You're used to doing that, know what I mean?
We can't just
Just put the fucking door in. And all this shite last week, he's were worried about my welfare. It was a fucking prescription. I was doing it at George Square, know what I mean?
What's that?
I was doing it at George Square fucking last week with her in the Wayne. Then you come up with your doors in for a prescription that Boots gave you rang.
Well, obviously I was there for that.
No, we know that. Fuck's sake, there's disease.
Keep it right. All the allegation is it's domestic assault.
Right, man, domestic assault my fucking arse.
Well, give me a chance to speak, mate. You see, all you're saying is you're throwing our clothes out.
I've done a sort of fucking done because she does this. Mate, I was going to go to the council and tell the woman, look, going to get her out of this house.
So why don't we just go down there?
Fuck's sake.
I'll give you a chance to speak to a lawyer. You told us about
The what?
you get cautioned in charge.
Yes.
Remember?
Aye,
That's the guy you're
right.
speaking to. Do you remember that one?
Aye.
The one up at Aberdeen.
Eh? I wasn't up in
He
Aberdeen.
ended up in Aberdeen. I was the guy that spoke to you outside.
Who ended up in Aberdeen?
What's that?
Who ended up in Aberdeen?
No, you ended up in Aberdeen. When you basically talked about how you would have a sea view and all that.
Oh, aye, right, aye, right.
Remember I was speaking to you about
Right, aye, okay, right. So what's the way he's all doing congregating outside there now? He said, put my fucking door in last week for a prescription. Now you're up here because I fucking had an argument and she's phoning Police Scotland. I'm not having it, mate. I'm not just a bit of recreation to be fucking booted about like a cricket ball.
listen, what is it? It's happened. I've only just...
What's happened is fuck all. She's just a fucking drama queen.
Who?
Oh, fuck who? You fucking know who.
I got the door and then step back from it.
No, what the fuck?
Just step back from
What the fuck? What is this? What? Just crash it in what you usually do. Fuck's sake, I'm used to it.
it.
I'll just crash it in what you usually do. Eh?
No point smashing it in.
You just put it in again. Just put it in all the fucking time. You're up last year for a fucking gun and all that, I know. Last week for a prescription. I know you're all out there with shields and what about it? Fuck's sake. Yeah, you have the illegal requirement to come in my door and put it in.
Big man.
Have you got a warrant?
But no,
But you can't put my fucking door in.
make sure you're alright.
I'm alright, mate.
Right, well, it's been a disturbance, pal.
Right, mate, I'm alright.
Right, well, look, we know better just open the door and deal with this problem.
No, because I know what you're going to do. Handcuffs as usual.
We've all need to put handcuffs.
Aye, I know you fucking will. And for what?
Right, so we can I think it's a bit easier to accuse you to boot here.
What do you mean it's a bit easier?
Just take you out.
How's that a bit easier?
Well, because that way we don't need to come in. And
No, but you've no legal requirement to come
well,
in.
we do, pal, we do.
How's that?
There's probably more powers.
Eh?
What's that?
How's that? I've not done fuck all.
Right, well, there's an allegation we've made. You need to be taken.
What happened was I went to Boots the Chemist
Yeah.
in Buchanan Galleries. It's just across from where I stay. I stay right in the edge of city centre. But who gives a guy a house in the edge of city centre when he's barred for nearly every pub and club? You know what I mean? And what happened was I collected the prescription. The guy asked me my name, my address, postcode, and I got over to the flat. I realised it was a wrong name, wrong address, and so I phoned them. It was just before Christmas, Shaun. It was about a week before Christmas or something. No, 2-3 weeks before Christmas. And the Christmas lights at George Square, and I was going to go for a meal and that, the kid and that, my girlfriend. And I phoned Boots. I was rushing for time, and I says, listen, you've gave me somebody else's prescription. Oh, can you bring it over? I went, no. I says, I'm in a rush. And he went, I says, I'll just bring it here in the morning. So I just put the phone in, you know what I mean? And I actually switched the phone off. And because I didn't know what bothered, I went, no, it's the only thing, mate. So what happened was, about 8:30 at night, Shaun, we came up to my close. There was 6 coppers coming out of the close, and they went, "Are you Ian McDonald? Are you okay?" They put it down as a concern of welfare. Boots get in touch with the police, right? And they says to them, "Well, I think that guy might take that prescription." See if I would have took the prescription, Shaun. They're lying, because see if I'd have took the prescription. Wait, I tell you, I googled it, what the prescription was. It was for colitis. I'd have shit myself. Colitis is for a bowel problem.
And you were helping them, telling them.
Aye. And I'm not being cheeky to people with colitis, but fucking all that would have done was fucking run me through me. It wouldn't have killed me. But Shaun, see the way they done the door, right? See the joiner that came that night. The joiner was, he's been 20 years service with the Glasgow Housing Association. He says he's not saw a door like that going in before. They split it right in the middle. It was half a door. I says, "Am I a horse or something?" The door. I was like, for fuck's sake. Right, I meant to take a photo before I came down. Right, see when the joiner came, see when the police went away and all that, right? I just videoed them just as they were going away. That clip I'd sent and that. And but see when the joiner came later that night, I thought he was going to give me a new door. He went like that. He just put the door back together again. And he put a plywood at one side and a plywood at the other side. And I've no letterbox. I've no door handle. It's still that. The door's still that. But Shaun, see, to tell you the truth, I'm getting a bit sick of it. I've been in this flat 3 years. The police have been up and down to my fucking door about 6 times.
6 times? What did they say why they were coming?
They've come up for a gun.
For a gun?
They've come up for a gun, remember? I don't know if I told you the last time. The first date I had with Ashley. The first date, that would put any lassie off. We were in a fancy cocktail bar in George Square. I'd come out in the next minute, my hands are up. Police, have you got a gun? I says, "Aye, if I did, it would be firing blanks now." So they took me up to my house, which I thought was highly unusual, and they searched the house and all that, and just, like, fuck all. They got a bit of Charlie, that was it.
How did that go on the first date?
Well,
did you get a second date?
Aye, wild man, do you know what a few people says? They says, "Is she still with me?" I've says, "Run." She's still with me. You know what I mean? But that was her first date. That was us. I'd met her before, but this was us going out for the first date and the first drink.
It's where you make a good impression, innit?
But Shaun, see, to tell you the truth, see, over the years, I've had a lot of trouble for the police. You know what I mean?
That's harassment, pure.
They've gave me fucking a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? And can I tell you this?
Please do.
And this is going to thing me. It might get me in trouble, but I don't care. Shaun, this is a true story. See, last year I got sick and I've got a clip in there. I can show you at the end to justify this. Right. Did you hear about a guy up in Glasgow, the Gerbil? He got shot in the car park.
The Gerbil?
He got shot in the car park.
No.
So there was this copper in Glasgow. His name was Stephen House, right? So he done all these reforms. He came, right, first of all, he came for the Metropolitan Police, right? And I think he was in the kidnap squad and all that. It was a good day down there, right? So he got the Chief Constable job up in Glasgow and he done all these reforms, want to do this and do this, get desk-bound duty officers out on the beat. He done a few good things and all that, right? I'm not saying he never done bad, but he fucked up. He fucked up, right? There was a scandal, a call centre scandal, and there was this lassie called Lamara Bell and her boyfriend. They crashed up near Stirling, and they weren't found for 3 days. Yeah. But the call centre had a call for it. So this Stephen House came in for a lot of criticism for it, and he came in for a lot of other criticism, and so. He was a plain Stephen House, right? Or Steph. Up in Scotland, right? They changed. It's Police Scotland now, right? Shaun, it used to be. I think there was six or five different places. Like say Lothian and Borders, Central Police, Strathclyde Police, Dumfries and Galloway, Grampian, right, to name a few. But him and the Nats, being in SNP, Nicola Sturgeon, etc. Do you know what they done? I think they were doing a cost-cutting exercise. See all these regional police, what I mentioned, Grampian, Strathclyde and all
Put
that.
them all into one.
They put them all into one. But see the thing about that, right? That's been a failure.
Yeah.
Right, because you know what happens now, Wildman? Right, say there's a murder in Glasgow. They send 2 cops in for Aberdeen.
Who haven't got
It's not got a
fucking
clue about the area and logistics. And so in the concept, they send them all different. So they're not for an area. And so anyway, getting back to me, right? This is the story. There's a wee funny bit at the end of it, but I think he would see this, right? And I sent him an email, by the way. Right, guess what happened? It says in a newspaper article, I've got it in there, I'll show you, right? Gerbo was killed, and he had a photo of me, and he went, the next one that'll be getting found in a car park is Ian McDonald, right? So I took offence to this, right? I'm staying out of trouble.
So whose words were they?
Stephen House.
Right.
He's done the News of the World before it folded. This was 2009, Shaun. I'll show you it when again. You can even put it up. So Stephen House, you can look him up. Guess what he done? He's landed on his feet. He's caused all the mergers with the Nats. This Lamara Bell scandal. So if Lamara Bell's dad's listening to this and watching, he'll be glad that I brought this up, because his daughter lay in a car for 3 days, dead.
Oh dear.
A liberty, you know what I mean? The other guy, I don't know his name, he's dead. I know. They're not too happy about it. No wonder, because he could have been found after 6 hours, 7 hours, but they fucked up. So that was on Stephen House's patch, and a few other things happened, and plus these mergers. So this is what I done. No, it says in this News of the World article, the next one it thinks he's Jack the Lad and all that, and I'm out of trouble. Is Blink on TV programmes. It says he'll be the next one ended up in the car park. Guess what I done? No, Jenna, this is true. I've got the bit of paper in there that I wrote. Did you find this funny? I don't think he did. That's that, right? I wrote something up. Right, I'm good at writing like you is, right? And I've got good contacts, right? So I asked for his email address. Shaun, guess where he went to? Shaun, Scotland. They gave him a sir. They gave him a sir for fucking up, right? So he's Sir Stephen Fingray House, right? They gave him a sir and they get rid of him. Guess where he crawled back to? The Met. Right, I saw him on the TV the other week. He's the Assistant Chief Constable.
Hell.
He's in the Met, right? He's about my age. He's crawled back in with his pals, right? Because see the half the police in Scotland. Half the police in Scotland didn't like him anyway. You know what I mean? So he got the boot for Scotland and he's crawled back into the Met with his pals. And
So he's been promoted for fucking up, basically.
yeah, and his finger, and he's right high up. Right. See that gun thing? With the first date with Ashley? Right. I wrote him an email, right? I got his email address, got it, and I sent it to the Met. And I says to him, Sir Stephen, I says, Steph, I says, you were only playing Steph in Glasgow. I says, you fucked up with this Lamara Bell, you fucked up with all these freaking regional forces, all disbanded, blah, 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 blah. I says, you says that I was going to be dead, 5 years in a car park. And I made a joke, right? I made a joke of this. And I says, okay then. I says, this is how I'm going to die, Steph. I says, I'm not going to die now. I'm not going to die in Asda car park. I says, I'm going to die in Aldi. Right? I says, and I'm going to tell you who's going to kill me. Paddy McGuinness, to take me out in 10 skinny blondes and he'll shoot me right up. So he goes... So I made it in front of here. He got this, right? You know Pandy McGrath does that Take Me Out programme with the girls, and it says 10 skinny blondes are going to shoot me up, right? So I sent that email to him, right? And his answer was, he sent, for the pals he's got, right? Still up in Scotland. He must have some, he's not got many. He's got them a warrant for a gun to find me. So that was his answer. So it was. And he's a top brass. You'll be able to get his photo in it. And the Met. So, and do you know, I like to say while we're talking about the Met, Shaun, I like your programmes, right? I like John Wedger. I think he's a good guy. I like Maggie Oliver, right? They're fighting for all these paedophiles and I think it's a bad day. John Wedger, he comes across as a good guy, right? And he had to look after his kids and all that. And he's been on you a couple of times. I like watching that guy. That guy is a liberty. There's just people trying to, I wouldn't say try to kill him, but he's trying to expose things. And they're putting it back burner. He was going to his superiors and saying to them, by the way, this is child abuse and it's rampant. Maggie Oliver, she's a good story to tell as well. And there's another, Sonia
Poulton.
And Anna Breeze.
Anna Breeze.
She's good.
All those are in the True Crime
out.
podcast. If you want to check on them, in the description box, the link is down there.
No, they're all good, Shaun.
Yeah.
And I've watched them and see the things that come out, you go, wow. You know what I mean? And
it's sad that the police have gone from helping people. I'm not saying all of them. I think we do need the police.
No, you need need the police. I would agree with you.
To covering things up and
what the fuck do we need
arresting low level.
It would be lawless. Everybody would just shoot everybody and all that.
Arresting low level drug users to fill private prisons is the main problem I've got with, especially the police in America did that. Almost 1 million arrests a year for weed possession. And then in this country,
you say because I remember you saying America. They say it's an industry.
Oh yeah,
the free strikes out for hash. Yeah. They're getting fortunes.
I'm a member of law enforcement against prohibition, which are good police,
right?
And they say we didn't sign up to arrest college kids for smoking weed. This is bullshit. You know, we wanted to arrest the paedophiles, murderers, rapists, but they're telling us in this country they don't have the resources to go after these political paedophiles.
But they could stop fucking
kids.
It's all
covered up, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I feel sorry for the guy John.
John Wedger.
He's come out and he's exposed and they weren't believing him. And his bosses were just going like that and he was finding things out and they were just going, just leave it. You've got a lot of good guests on recently. I enjoy that.
Well, in the beginning, because people helped me when I got out of prison, I wanted to help other people share their prison stories. So it was all people who'd been in prison. But then it kind of like just all of a sudden it just started branching out. And a lot of it's thanks to the viewers. And you've done well
with your books. You've donated 5,000 books for your own. That's for your own money.
We're at 25,000 book donations now.
25.
Yeah, to kids in state schools.
No, I mean that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because see in prison, people like to read books and that. Know what I mean? And you've not got a good choice.
Yeah,
wild one.
No. All these fantastic guests, Ian, have been suggested by the viewers, and a huge thank you to the viewers because you guys keep putting these people forward and or messaging them and saying, "Why don't you go on Shaun Attwood's podcast?"
Yeah.
And it makes us easy then to hook it all up. And we've had.
I think you're going to build up to True Geordie status.
That'd be nice.
I think your subs are going up. And do you know, every time I turn on my phone and my that is always Shaun Attwood thing.
It's got YouTube's promoting it.
They're promoting you all the time, so they're.
Well, we got a shout out from Joe Rogan podcast recently, and that bumped us up like 30,000. Eddie Bravo.
Right, who is he?
He is a world champion martial arts guy.
I saw a lot of things going in saying that's good for Shaun and all that. Did he mentioned you, didn't he?
5 times. He mentioned the channel, the Epstein stuff.
Millions, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Joe Rogan, I think he's got like 6 or 7 million subs on YouTube.
Could he not come out here and interview you, Shaun?
If Joe Rogan was in London, we could go in his studio and do it properly. He did interview Snowden, and Snowden's in Russia, isn't he?
Right.
I mean,
But a guy came here from America to see you, tell me right, Patrick, what's his name? Value Entertainment.
Yeah.
He came over and he done Dave Courtney as well, didn't
Patrick was coming to London. I hooked him up with Dave Courtney.
I watched that one.
Patrick's a great guy.
Aye.
And next time he comes out, I think he might do David Icke. I'm going to discuss that with him.
You've done a good one with him. So
Did two with David Icke so far, yeah.
See David Icke, right? Remember everybody used to say that David Icke's loony and all that. David Icke talks a lot of sense.
Well, what the thing is, a lot of the things he predicted have come true. And he was one of the first to call out Jimmy Savile, and everybody laughed at him.
Did you know I call him a fruitcake and all that, and going, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Savile, fucking hell.
Wellman really loves the Epstein stuff the most.
No, well, see the Epstein stuff, Shaun, I've got to take my hat after you. You've done over 100. And you keep plugging away,
It's mental.
Yeah.
So you do. And you must be really busy all that research. Your days must be full.
I've done enough Epstein videos now to fill 2 books.
I know.
So I'm going to do Who Killed Epstein.
I'm going to read you.
I've Prince Andrew on the cover.
Do you know what book I'm interested in reading? Shaun, you brought out Prince Andrew. Do you know what book I'm interested? Your Clinton book.
Oh, at Christmas there was a book released, Clinton, Bush and CIA Conspiracies, subtitle From the Boys on the Tracks of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. Available worldwide on Amazon, link is in the description box.
And I must say as well, I really enjoyed, I've told Shaun this before, I gave you a wee thing, I really enjoyed the Two Tonys.
Yeah.
That was a fast-paced book, and I didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
And I could live in the mind of the guy.
That's my next book I'm going to read. I'm never going to read an Epstein book in my life, by the way.
Blake stripped 7 years ago.
Wellman thinks the Royal Security people are going to put me in a car one day and never be seen again.
I love the Queen.
No, the Two Tonys book, I really enjoyed that.
My Two Tonys book's called The Mafia Philosopher Two Tonys, available on Amazon.
See, when that ended, I was gutted.
Yeah,
I was gutted,
yeah.
so
it was sad. It was
and
like,
I watched
saying goodbye at the chain link fence.
I watched the other day. You says that we're talking about Epstein, but you says Two Tonys done a grip on you.
Yeah,
he done a grip in the American
in one of the Epstein
videos
I did, we showed the pictures of the 60 Minutes from Epstein's cell. They got some unreleased pictures, and they've got these electrical cords in the pictures. Mm-hmm. And when I asked Two Tonys what's the quickest way, I'm sorry, how would you kill someone if someone came into your cell? I thought he would describe it.
Yeah.
But he jumped up with the electrical cord, put it around my neck and just choked me out real quick.
I know you were saying that, but I was watching that amazed, know what I mean?
What about the Christmas video we did with Wellman and Chet?
Do you know I was sitting watch? Yous were steaming.
I know, yeah.
Yous were steaming. I don't did you have a drink, no?
I was moderating, let's say.
No, I've never met Chet, but I've watched him in he's run you 3 times.
He speaks very highly of you, and he's watched all your videos. Chet actually said he would like you and Wellman, all of us, to have a video just having a chat.
That would be good. Yeah. We could just different reasons.
We'll get drunk and just fucking put the world to rights.
How stay down here again?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I enjoy coming down here.
Yeah, we love having you down here.
Yeah. You've always sorted me out with good details.
Yeah, no problem.
Different things, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think I was the first Scottish guy to get in touch with you.
You was, and then the accents became a bit harder. Johnny Boy, yeah, right, amazing.
Right, listen,
stories. Escape from many prisons.
I can understand you perfectly.
I know, because you know what I do. Wild man, right? See, when I went to England in 1991, I was in 9.5 years. See, us Scots, you
slowed it down.
I slowed it right down.
Yeah.
And see, my pal, I had to interpret for him. So I was sounding like a snobby guy in Glasgow. Because see, for the first 2 years, all the Londoners and that down in England used to just go, we just went, no. So I slowed right down.
Yeah.
And when I went back to Glasgow, I still had it a wee bit, and people go, you talk about a snob. But everybody understood me.
In Accrington, I used to get Temmys.
The Temmys, aye.
A couple of lads from the Gorbals.
Yeah,
and like talking to them.
Temmys was a big thing in Glasgow in the 80s.
They have like
in the jails.
number 2s and 4s on them, you know what I mean?
Subotic, they're all running about in Berlin now and all that.
Brilliant.
They're going to knock down Berlin. Did you know that? No, I don't know if they're going to knock it down. They're building a new Berlin.
So that's the one Johnny
couple of
Boy
years.
Steele
That's the
escaped
one
from
he escaped
multiple
from.
times. He not only escaped, he also got his brother out and put his brother back in after they'd been on the run and stuff. Stories are amazing. If you want to watch the Johnny Boy Steele podcast, they're in the description box below the video. True Crime
and
podcast.
I'll think with double that.
Oh.
Johnny Boy, I would say that was the best escape for Berlin. There's been a
Amazing
few
escape stories.
Aye.
When I got to America, coming from Widnes, I had a very broad northern accent, and they couldn't understand me.
Yeah.
So, like you said, you slowed yours down.
I slowed it really down.
Because I was working on the phones, telesales, basically. I had to start speaking like I speak today.
Right.
So some people call me posh as well because they hear me speaking like this. I'm not speaking like the hometown accent that people can't understand.
Because when I get released, I started saying I'm I again and no, and but I had to slow right down, and they understood me perfectly. So
if people could hear my original accent before I went to America, they'd call Wildman the posh one, I think.
Yeah.
I've never been posh in my fucking life. All called fucking posh.
Since the last time I saw you as well, Shaun, do you remember you done the guy he escaped for the prison van? Franklin's 3 guys jumped out and you put a photo of him, and I was talking about Michael Howard added 10 years to his sentence.
Yeah.
Alan Lord, was it?
Alan Lord.
Alan Byrne. Alan Byrne.
Not the Manchester lad.
No, you've not done a podcast. I was speaking about him.
Oh.
And you put a photo up with him.
Okay.
And he was on the run for about 12 years. And at the time, I wasn't allowed to visit him. The police came to see me, right? Can I put in to see him? So they says to me, and how did you meet him? And I says, I couldn't turn around and say, well, I turned around and says to him, well, I didn't meet him in Sainsbury's in fucking Birmingham. I says, I met him in Full Sutton and Long Lartin. We had some good parties. And do you know what they done? Well, knocked me back.
Bastards.
But I've got in to see him. It's put the guys get what's he got? Parkinson's. 68. No,
terrible.
I mean, Michael Howard gave him 10 years unjustly.
Yeah.
He says your sentence isn't thing, mate. Big enough. Alan was willing to go out at 54, doing 20 years, and he just got a letter. You're doing an extra 10 years?
Oh, that's fucked up.
You don't have magistrates in Scotland, do you? You have the sheriffs, don't you?
Aye, we've got district. We've got magistrates and people in the district court, and we've got the magistrates, sheriffs, then judges.
Judges,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
What
a sheriff could give you 5 years. A sheriff could give you 5 years, and then the judge, the district court, get up to about 12 months or something in there.
What a prop does?
Procurator Fiscal.
Yeah.
Aye, a Procurator Fiscal is a QC down here against you.
Got you. Like a prosecution.
Aye, prosecution.
Yeah.
So they're prosecute, but down here they're
What high
called-
up ones?
Aye, well, you get the high up ones in see in the High Court in Glasgow and High Court everywhere in Scotland.
Yeah.
You get like the QCs. They're a QC prosecutor.
Like barristers over there.
Aye, just like down here.
When your crime gets serious, they go up a bit.
Well, see when we had our trial at Bristol the first time we tried to escape and all that. But, aye, we actually 2 QCs against us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we went to the Bailey, and Sir Lawrence Verney says to the Sixers, he says, I'm not having any more. We try to get a gun smuggle in.
Must have been scary at the old
Oh,
days.
yeah. Winter.
They tried to get a gun smuggled in.
Aye, we were all shit. Was it ready
The
to
court
get off?
moved it to a different jurisdiction.
They moved it to, we were done down in Bristol, and Torquay and they took us to Bristol Crown Court, and we found a gap
Yeah.
in the security to get this gun. And what we were just going to do is we were just going to get the gun.
Get out.
We were going to batter all the fucking screws before we went, but we weren't going to ask anybody from Glasgow to come down with cars. We were just going to go a free for all.
Yeah.
And just got off. But we were 6 categories.
And go your own way.
Could you imagine manhunt for that?
I know.
But I'm glad, wild man, we never done it.
Yeah.
Because we'd have got another 10 year.
You'd have got
15 year
lifed
added
up.
on. So, no, it wouldn't have been worth it. But at the time we were all, and me and Mick Keeley used to walk round Bristol, Nick, and looking for fucking gaps, and because Mick Mick escaped for Shots prison. He was the only person in a butcher's van, top security van. You hear a lot of people, Shaun, in the papers, somebody's escaped from prison. But they've no escaped from prison, they've just come out of an open prison or something.
Yeah.
But it's still doing his escape. But Mick actually went in the butcher's van and he escaped.
A lot of the things in England, when they escape, all they've actually done is they've been taken them to the hospital.
Since I last,
and then they've gone from the hospital.
they go through hospital.
Yeah.
But since I last spoke to you, Michael Healy died, unfortunately.
Oh.
If you want to watch, because the first podcast we did with Ian was $6 million bank robbery. It went wrong, obviously. If you want to watch that whole story, that link is at the top of the description box below the video. Can you just update us then, Ian, on all the guys that were in that botched robbery with you? What ended up happening to them?
Well, unfortunately, Michael Carroll, he died as well. He died I brought the book out 7 years ago and I done a wee dedication at the front here. Michael had serious kidney problems and he died. Michael Healy died in
What was Michael Healy's death?
He was just found in a house. They don't know what it was related to, you know what I mean?
Not suspicious?
No, it wasn't suspicious. He was 57, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was at his funeral, so I was. And Michael was a good guy. And his brother was done with his brother James, he's out, he's been doing well. And the other two blocks, Rab Harper, he actually, see when he finished he 17 years at Norwich and he got 16 years at the Bailey concurrent because they'd went and done more robberies in Norwich. See when they left us at Torquay, they went to Norwich and went through a gun shop, reversed through it, and they got magnums and no Magnum ice cream, Magnum Magnum guns, yeah. And they buried them under a farm, but they've done 3 banks, and so they get but then Robert Harper got another 18 years, so that was 17, 18 concurrent, and he was only at 2 years, and he got 18 years, the poor cunt. So he's been out about a year, and he's doing well. But I'll tell you who's doing really well, and you should maybe get him on your podcast. He'd be really good. A guy called Thomas Carrigan. He works in Tottenham just now. He works for a charity.
He's in Tottenham?
Yeah, and he'd see all the knife crime and all that. He's run about it. And Tam would have a good story to tell. He's been to Iraq and all the danger zones as a photographer. This was all way before there, and Tam's the one that got the 17 years at Norwich for the farm with the guns and the banks there and the bank at Torquay. And he's done it. He's done a lot of good for people. He's married with 4 kids.
Yeah, he just comes to Guildford quite easily from Tottenham.
He's Tottenham, so yes.
Yeah. The hand and knives in now, apparently.
He's got a big Mars bar as well.
Does he?
He get that 16, you know what I mean?
Wow.
But no, Tam's got his act together and he's working and all that now. And he would be really good. He was on David Wilson's Crime Files just the other week.
really?
You're lucky he didn't lose your eye.
David Crime. I know. Well, do you know what happened? I've got what'd you call it? See below my eye, I've got nerve damage.
Yeah.
I had to go in for another operation 2 years later and lift the eye up.
Got you.
Got my ear as well. But that day that happened, I was just happy in my neck. I was just taunting him, sort of, you know what I mean?
You were fighting for your life, but
Shaun,
fucking
tell
hell.
you the truth, I didn't expect to see 50. And I'm 58, you know what I mean?
Congratulations, man.
And you look well too.
Do look really well through it all.
Well, I dye my hair, but so does Simon Cole and John Barrowman, so it doesn't matter.
At least you've got her.
But
Sun
if it makes you feel better in yourself, that's it, innit?
Let me ask you this then. So you went on the podcast the first time. It's been one of the most viewed podcasts on the channel.
We don't know bad.
What has the effect of coming on the podcast had on you? Like, do you read the comments and stuff? Or
I read the comments.
Do people message you and things?
No. I'm not on social media or anything at all. I'm not on Twitter. I'm no thing with.
Yeah.
And I've saw you for the answer some, but I don't answer because I think people just be abuse. I don't go on social media, but what I've found out since I've been on the podcast and that, a lot of people stop me in the street now.
Do they?
Aye, a lot of street for James English as well.
Yeah.
They podcasts are popular, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a podcast was till 2 years ago. But see now, no, a lot of people stop me. Oh, I saw your podcast, it was great. No,
I'll put the link to your James English below.
I think they like the true crime.
Yeah.
We get that, don't we? If Shaun picks me up and he's taking me down London.
Well, look at all the people that loves the wild, man.
I know.
Isn't it?
It's got a huge following now.
Yeah, it's a huge following.
Yeah.
Because I read the comments.
Yeah.
And everybody's always like, oh, I love the
majority
man.
They've got some
T-shirts
trolls,
and all
like,
that.
but I don't give a fuck about the
Aye.
trolls.
And see, I see that you comment and you go, oh, fuck off, you can't.
Yeah.
Because, you just, because see if it was me, and like, say, I've no on Twitter or that, see if I was drunk or something, Shaun, and somebody says, oh, mate, I would go and meet them and all that.
When I first got him, I was looking for the IP addresses.
Oh, well, you want to go and kill cunts?
Yeah, I wanted to kill the cunts. And it's only when I was talking to the two Geordies, they said, look, it'd be about 15, 16-year-old lads on the computer just being keyboard warriors. They said, it's good to have trolls because it makes you, if you haven't got a few trolls, it's like
you've got to have trolls somewhere, ain't you?
But good luck, they make things go viral.
Aye.
It increases the activity and people start arguing with them then.
No, but a lot of people in Glasgow
don't
know
troll this
yourself,
man, he'll come and get you.
Yeah.
And they all say to me, oh, the guy Shaun Attwood and that's good.
Yeah.
And the wild man.
Well, James English is doing tremendous work and he's hooked us up with a lot of good guests.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch the James English podcast, please subscribe to him also.
You
I'll
done
put
the
link.
James English?
Yeah, he interviewed me when I was up there. I did a TED Talk. I did a TED Talk last year and TED hasn't even put it online. So I've asked them to send it to me because it's my third one, so I can put it on my channel.
Well, do you know what?
It's about two Tonys.
Well, do you know two Tonys?
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
But do you know what I noticed you'd done? And I don't think you'd done at a big podcast. You got about 2 million views. Unilad.
Oh, the Unilad one I did, yeah.
You got a lot of views.
It's like a short documentary, isn't it? A short interview.
You got an awful lot of...
I think it has got over 2 million. But the first TED Talk's got about 1.5 million as well.
Aye.
Yeah.
You've done well.
So all that's helped really the channel grow and with Wildman and all these other people just like putting out these great stories. I really appreciate everything everyone's doing.
The best stick is the crime, though. Get away from that Epstein shit.
Crime is a good one. If you've retired, it's fine because... See, you just don't know when the coppers... See, if you're up to crime and all that as well, the police are in the stupid.
Yeah.
You're lying in your bed and you just thing. I used to be very materialistic and that, so I did. And I know a thing with £1 coin, just used to buy all the best of gear and go holidays. I do miss it at times, but I would rather have my freedom, Shaun.
Yeah,
absolutely. Same here, yeah. I don't. As long as I've got enough to live, innit?
Yeah.
I don't fucking.
That's it.
Like,
see if you're happy, and I like watching Netflix and things like that as well.
I've been out since 2009 now.
Because I used to go out all the time.
And I've never been arrested.
How long have you been out since?
2009.
2009.
Never been arrested. No trouble whatsoever. The worst I've had is no seatbelt. I got a fine for 60 quid.
Right.
It's not bad, like, considering it was getting nicked every fucking week. You know what I mean?
Have you ever thought about speaking to school kids or anything?
Well, I think because I'm still getting a lot of hard thing with fake coppers and things like that.
Schools probably won't let you in, will they?
I think I'd be a bit hypocrite to the thing with, and I get done with possession of cocaine 2 years ago and things like that.
But you're inactive now, aren't you? You should let you in.
I'm not doing that at all.
Yeah.
But do you know, Shaun, if I was speaking to school kids, I couldn't. I know you're supposed to get in and say the right things. I think I couldn't really, because I think I'd need to get in and say look, he's there life of crime. I says, you'll need to do the time, know what I mean? I'll say it is good at the time, but when it all crashes down, it's no good. But I would say to them, I wouldn't say to them, good luck, get away with it, because if they don't get away with it, they have got to suffer the consequences. And see, these days, when I was in prison and all that, you didn't have computers and a shower in your cell. But see, still the same, Shaun. Do you know when your time starts in prison? 9 o'clock at night when that door shuts. It doesn't matter if you've got a phone, a computer, a shower. Say you're married. I've been in prison in England loads of times, and it's sent people crazy. What's my wife up to? And family, it destroys people, you know what I mean? But I would try and say to the kids, look, see if you want to get into that life, you've got to be prepared to do the time and that, you know what I mean?
Or possibly die. I mean, look at how many times
there's a lot of people dying
brushed
there.
with the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a lot of people dying, you know what I mean? Definitely.
Yeah. So, this channel's not about glamorising crime. We like to show these stories so you can see what can actually happen, the consequences of it as well. We're just in the last section now, Ian. Are there any stories that you feel that we've missed out today that you've not said yet that you'd like to...
I'm trying to think of one. Did I tell you I get out of jail in an aeroplane?
I like the sound of this.
I hadn't even took off. I've been arrested at 3 airports, and this one I actually went to prison for, and it was 4 years ago. I was going to Fuerteventura, and I was on the plane. I was seeing this lassie, and we took at the back of the plane, and the thing with the locker above, and it was for Glasgow Airport. It was January, snowing as well. I was stupid can't. So I went to put my small luggage, and there's a girl. She's 20 years service, by the way. She's went, and I got into an argument with her or something, and I think I just threw my passport at her. So this guy stood up and he went, "Here you fanny," right? Something like that. And I went right out of him. I went, "I'll fucking take your fucking neck off or something," right? So they kind of cooled it down, and I went and sat with this older couple. They went, "Oh, just be quiet," and all that. And then the announcement came over with the pilot. There's going to be a big brother, he never says that, a big brother eviction. Two people, right? So I thought we were just going to get chipped off. Then the next minute, the couple I'm sitting with says, "By the way, look at all the fucking police coming. They're trying to drive me off the fucking plane and all that." And they took me down to Greenup police station. And do you know what they actually says to me? They jailed me, right? They jailed me with a breach of the peace, Mr. Holiday and that. So they says to us at Greenup police station, they says, "Ian," they says, "listen, you're going to get out. I'll let you out in a couple of years." Like, I don't get out. But they let me out. And but and done. I think it was about 10 or 20 quid, but I had a credit card, and they went, "Ian, straight out again, look, we don't want you here." I says, "Where's the nearest Witherspoon's pub?" I went round there, I was drinking and all that, you know what I mean? And actually went up to court for it, and I got a 2-month prison sentence for it. For arguing, I've served people worse. It's just, I think it's because of my records. So it is, you know what I mean?
That's because you've got previous that, isn't it?
And a couple of years ago as well, 4 years ago, papers made a bit of a thing, a laughing song about this. I went into a cafe in Duke Street, it's called Coyers, and I was steaming for the night before, and that's for a cup of coffee. This is £3 or £4, it's just in an ordinary scheme. And I was going about shouting the West End in Glasgow is a snobby bit, and I was going about shouting West End prices in East End. And I ended up going to court. I got 140 years community service. I got a 3-month drink and alcohol course, like 18 months supervision. I won't pay no more than $150 for a cup of coffee. I know. So when I went to the social worker to see her for 18 months, I says, "I'm no fucking thing, man. Get along with this." I says, "There's people at the community service stab people and fucking robberies, and I'm getting this for shouting West End prices in the East End." And the drug worker was the same. I says, I'm not doing that. I says, I was out last week having 40 lines, mate, and 40 fucking drinks. And he went, because I've done a big sentence and all that, and I just thought that the thing with the punishment that never thing with the crime. The crime was just merely shouting us a breach of the peace. And the community service, I went and done that. I hated doing that, so I did.
What'd you have to do?
You know what I mean? You had to go and you were painting fences.
Paint fences.
And you'd go into old churches and things like that. You know what I mean? I'd go twice a week. But that was a couple of things that was done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. There was loads of things that I meant to say the day, but I wrote it all down. And I would just like to say, in where I stay just now, there was it became a pal of mine. I've been in the flat for a year. I get found in his house 2 weeks today. Boy Greg Scott. And there was another woman, she was a nice woman. She was found last year in Lassie Hazel. You know what I mean, a woman Hazel. So it was quite sad, you know what I mean, on the close. But apart from that, life goes on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you back up, because if people want to get the full details, we've got Ian McDonald. The book is called Blink, A Journey Through Gangland Mayhem.
A very handsome Ian McDonald, if you don't mind me saying so.
Thank you very much, Shaun.
We've got stories about Archie Hall, Charles Bronson, Ronnie O'Sullivan Senior, and we did go over some of those stories on part one.
Senior. See, when I left in February last year, I popped in Chigwell to see him. I hadn't saw him for about years and years, and popped in and saw him, and he took us for something eating it. It was all right. I was actually speaking to him this morning.
Really?
I told him I was here. I says, I'm doing the same guy, Shaun Attwood. So he's good. He's been a good pal.
If you want to watch part one, the 3.5 hour, 3 hours, 35 minutes, I think it was, first podcast, is at the top of the description box below this video. Check the book out. Please subscribe. If you're not subscribed, it is free to subscribe. Subscription box is in the bottom right hand corner. Huge thank you to all the people who've donated on PayPal, Patreon, Just Giving, Subscribe Star. All those links are in the description box below the video.
T-shirt,
our merch, we've got Wildman t-shirts. I've spoke to the t-shirt company and they are now available all year round. I know it was campaign, stop, start, but they're now going to be available all year round. And I'm speaking to another t-shirt company about having Epstein t-shirts and wanted Ghislaine Maxwell and stuff like that. So this doesn't make I'm very happy, but we'll see how that goes down. And if you've got questions and comments, if you've enjoyed this video, please put it in the comments. Let us know if you'd like to see Wildman, Chet, Blink, all in here having a crazy day podcast, like we had a crazy day Christmas.
And please
podcast.
comment if you'd like me to write a book or Shaun to do a book for me.
Yes, the Wildman book is in the pipeline. We will be getting you a Wildman book out as well.
Before fucking Epstein gets one out.
All right, brother. Yeah, thanks again, man. Brilliant. Yeah.